Vishwanath Padur, representing Coral Technologies India Private Limited, a 25-year-old company developing products for Indian defense.
Representing Constelli Signals. We are an 8-year-old company. We focus on signal processing systems and software, mainly in the radar, EW, and communication segment.
Hi, this is Ashutosh. I'm CEO of Paras Entritune, which is a vertical of Paras Defense, primarily doing RF and microwave products and technologies. Our focus is electronic warfare, radars, and intelligence systems, which is coming in anti-drone technology domain. Yeah.
Thank you. That has been wonderful. All these names are known to us. Their presence, they have all made it, very, very prominent in the last few years. And they know that India needs a lot of new sensors and sensor integration. You are also aware. So now, there are a lot of things to discuss about how this ecosystem has to survive, how it has to move forward, and how today we have seen, the process training businessmen, process training, into industrialists. So, we could have actually put academia, DRDO, industry. Actually, already academia has come out into industry. Already it is there. DRDO is always there with the industry. DRDO is always there with the industry. So this time that we have been given, sir has discounted as further 45 minutes we have altogether. We have used already 6 to 7 minutes. So what I suggest is, one by one, if we can talk about all those points that Madam has brought in. What is the aspiration? What is the expectation of you from DRDO? What is the expectation of the users, that is the armed forces, from the industry and DRDO together, from the ecosystem as such? And what are the future, that is getting ready for us, and how we are going to attempt head on, to meet those challenges that the future is offering us. And with the new advent of, the government's policies and efforts to bring in, India to the forefront of technology all over the world, by 2047, we want to take that leadership position in technology. So towards that, what is your take? And is there any, as Madam has said, is there any sore points which we have to address, all of us together? So if quickly we can go from left to right, if we can slowly talk about it. You have around 3 to 5 minutes. Right.
Thank you, sir. Thanks for the opportunity to be here and giving the opportunity to present or express the industry point of view. Let me express my gratitude to DRDO. It's true that this ecosystem is built by DRDO. On our own, we wouldn't have understood 15, 20 years ago what is a system, what goes into designing a system. So all that has been learned by most of the industries. I'm surely from Coral, we learned it from DRDO. If I have to visualize, if I directly go to MOD, take their problem 20 years ago and build a product, it wouldn't have been possible for Coral or many of the industries. It was DRDO who understood those requirements, tried to put together a realizable specifications, work with the industry and build the ecosystem of the industry, realize a product and deliver the product to the forces. And I'm very, very happy that in the recent Operation Sindhu, the DRDO systems worked very well, built by DRDO and its ecosystem partners. Having said that, now every industry needs to grow. We are a business entity exists for making a profit. And the ambition is to grow the company. And even our customers, even DRDO wants us to make profits and grow the business. And an MSC wants to grow into a medium segment company. A medium segment company wants to be a large company. So that's the natural aspiration. As we grow, as you rightly pointed out, industries need to scale up we need to acquire capabilities, we need to build infrastructure, etc. That's something I think many of the industries have learned and are beginning to learn to grow. As we grow, I think the challenges, what we see is, while we spend lot of time in R&D, and R&D takes lot of effort, and I think in India, after DRDO, it's a DRDO ecosystem partner, mostly MSC and medium segment companies who have invested a lot in R&D because they are very nimble, agile, and adaptable, and have been producing products quickly. But can industry sustain doing an R&D? Industry cannot sustain doing R&D alone. Industry will sustain only when it sees production. I took several years to understand how to bid for a DRDO project. Only then I understood we will never make money in R&D. The money or the profits will get generated only through production. So as we aspire to grow a bigger company, the sustainability happens only through production. And it has taken about 15 years for us to realize some of the production. And we are part of the ecosystem. It's not a complaint, but then in an opportunity like this, it has to be presented. Now the indigenization, the products which DRDO developed through industry, if it has to be ultimately used by the forces, now that has to be the combined goal of the armed forces, the lead system integrators, which are public sectors, Bharat Electronics, HAL, and DRDO, and including us, MSC. If it remains one entity's objective, if it remains a DRDO objective, the indigenization, it will fail. The model is not sustainable. Unless armed forces require indigenous product, unless lead system integrators embrace indigenization and to work with the subsystem providers, development partners, long-term sustainability of this ecosystem is in doubt. And this is something which I have been communicating to all the stakeholders in the industry. And we have waited, just to give an example, for Arudra radar, we waited 14 years for getting to a production. After 14 years, we received our production, which is digital beamformer. For Ashwini radar, we waited for 15 years for production. For Uttam radar, we are now debating, hopefully the indigenous radar will get on to LCA Mark II. So the point is, unless industry gets the production, it is not sustainable. And an R&D company, while it excels in R&D, doesn't want to remain an R&D. It wants to continue R&D, but it wants to build a scale. The scale happens to the production. To that extent, whatever the organization needs to accomplish in terms of infrastructure, funding, I think today the market has matured. There are companies going for private equity. There are companies who are ready to invest. I think what we need is opportunities and assurance towards the production. This one of the industry perspective. The other one is the innovation. I think the MSMEs always excelled in innovation, and I think there is a culture of innovation Indian organization need to build, and we are building, where we give opportunities for engineers to fail, freedom of expression, they experiment, freedom to experiment. If you build the culture of innovation, we will be able to build newer and newer products. But innovation will fail as long as the obsession with price remains. As long as the procurement model remains the lowest bidding, innovation will fail. Because if that happens, the companies start looking at what is easier for us to make money rather than developing innovative products.
Thank you. That has been wonderful. I have one more panelist in this roundtable from Astrom, Mr. Venkatesh Kumaran. Please come, Kumaran sir. Please give him a big hand. Yeah, sir, it's your turn. Restrict it to 3 to 4 minutes.
Sure. I come from a chip background, so my end markets were cellular, Wi-Fi, Bluetooth, IoT, and all of that. So coming into this segment, aerospace and defense, the partnership with DRDO has been extremely important because, like it was pointed out, DRDO understands the systems much, much better than anybody else. So they are the masters, they understand. And once it comes to subsystems and maybe, components and chips, so that is where, people like us can come to the foray. So talking about the involvement of startups in the context, in a chip company, the development cycles are rather large. So a tape out would at least require 6 months, and fabrication time, packaging time, testing time. So we are talking about 1 year for getting one chip out. So it's a long journey. And we know that the first chip may not always work as per expectations, so we always have a second tape out. So it's a 2-year-long journey, which many of the startups cannot sustain with the limited funding that they have. So all the funding that comes from DRDO helps the startups in building their engineering muscle, building the products. So like it was pointed out, it's a long journey, but the first product is always the most difficult one that we build. The derivatives and the subsequent products will be rather easier. So from my own experience, after so many rejections, it took 4.5 years for my first transaction paper, and next 4 years, I had 15 transaction papers. So really appreciate, not just DRDO, but the support of government. So while we are doing reasonably well in building our muscle in terms of fabless design houses in India, a few OSATs, EDA licenses and manufacturing still remain a bottleneck. So that is something which I'm looking forward to seeing some of the members in this room take it up as a challenge. So if we look back, I've been in this semicon industry for 20 years. I have never seen this kind of a wave in the country where, to the point that Manoj Jain sir, made, it's the time we collaborate rather than compete, join forces and make in India a true reality. Thank you so much.
Good afternoon again to all of you. To start with, I like to thank ECS Cluster to arranging this. It is a good opportunity for all of us to reflect and also communicate each other the challenges and trends which we are facing. Also, I like to say that we are at the right time, right place from government emphasizing on a lot of Make India initiatives. Also, the Indian Armed Forces and the defense labs emphasizing taking various reform and initiatives. And more, above all, we are facing a lot of challenge that also provides a lot of opportunity for us. The challenge is suddenly we doubt who are our friends geopolitically. That is a big challenge we face. And this also will motivate all of us to innovate, develop our own products. Okay, coming to the points, the topic what we are discussing, as a company, I like to take 1 or 2 statements. Apart from defense, we are also emphasizing on semiconductor, electronics, and AI. And we have been developing a lot of AI platform for signal processing and other applications. That also helps us to manage both and defense and commercial electronics. This is one aspect. And the second aspect is, as all the speakers today spoke about the R&D, we are also developing our own R&D, internal development we are doing. The products mainly on the AI platform, signal processing, various other applications we are developing. In those areas, we also need the support from defense labs in terms of algorithms or the modeling. When we talk about AI again, we know AI is required, and that is a future. We need to implement it. Also, we need guidelines and what type of model we need to develop. We know the vast data is available with either defense labs or forces. With that, we need help to build the model. Probably the industry is ready to integrate into any embedded product or inferencing applications we can do. This is another aspect. Also, the scalability which we talked about. As a company, we are expanding our infrastructure facilities both in Bangalore and Hyderabad. Here, Devanahalli Airport, we are building our own infrastructure with a lot of manufacturing facilities. I mean, we are also following the trend both by government and defense lab and PSUs to be part of the large supply chain systems. So this is another aspect. And one more thing, so though we are talking about all the trends, that is very important because that we need to gear up for that. There are not so very advanced, some basic things somehow still we are not discussing which delays some of our delivery. I like to highlight, for example, still some basic connectors lead time, we have 6 months lead time. Some basic passive component like high accuracy resistors takes a longer time. Those are the things also we need to take into account as an industry. Probably we need to involve more component the manufacturers into the account. So that is one of the things I like to highlight. Also, when we talked about supply chain, our Bell chairman morning we spoke about it. I like to just compare the auto industries. When Ambassador was there, when Maruti was opened up, now we see every month thousands of cars, each manufacturer, whether it's a Tata, Maruti, Hyundai, Mahindra, all of them they are manufacturing. But what is that model? They mostly they do a lot of assembly. They do so much components they buy from the other supply chain. There are hundreds of thousands of component suppliers are available. I think we need to apply similar concept. Whether all the PSUs, if they focus on more on integration and next level supply chain, if they develop further, and we can scale up the more delivery, we can do it for armed forces. These are some of the things I like to highlight. Thank you.
Okay, now we have got 3 experts. They have brought about their actual experience in bringing about an industry. And we have also heard 1 or 2 sore points. So, 1 or 2 comments I would like to request from you, maybe 1 minute each. It is on one point what he has brought about is, we are making systems, subsystems, systems of systems, but there are some components which are, we are finding it very difficult to have that. Supply chain is missing. All on a sudden, for pins and screws and screwdrivers, we have to search for. So this, is there any comment on this? Is there any possibility? So this, the industries themselves, the MSCs themselves, they feel that they have a lot of possibilities. And is there anybody? You can reserve your comments, otherwise you can write it also and give it to us. Or at the end of it, we'll get a small time to talk. In the meanwhile, I request Mr. Venkatesh Kumaran sir to introduce, because let's give him a big hand. Venkatesh Kumaran sir, yeah. Please introduce.
Yeah, good afternoon. I'm sorry I'm pretty late. Thank you so much, sir, for inviting us. It's a privilege to be here. We run a startup. It's called Astrom Technologies, and we've been in existence for the past 10 years. A couple of very bright PhDs from the Indian Institute of Science started this company 10 years ago with a vision to bridge the digital divide. And the focus for us is more of putting the last mile backhaul and providing broadband internet, whether through terrestrial networks or through satellite networks. So I'd be bold enough to say that we have the wherewithal to do a Starlink in India, and that will come from Astrom.
Okay, thank you. That's wonderful. Please give him a big hand once again. We will have Professor Padi now. Why I have taken a full stop there, we are going to see a different view, altogether. I think there may be a change in the way things are shaped up. Yeah, he has brought about this point. Yeah, please. But sir, restrict to 4 to 3 to 4 minutes.
No, I don't worry about this. Not lecture anyways. So, all right, thanks a lot for inviting me. So, done. Okay. So I am here to play a little bit of devil's advocate. Looks like. So I will rather note down 1 or 2 points. You may not like to listen probably, but allow me for that. That is probably Well, this is not out of anything. It's all impromptu anyway. I didn't prepare anything. I've been rushing from a class and all that. Just scribbled down a few things, which is there for in my mind for a long time anyway. So, and allow me to introduce myself as a DRDO scientist, former DRDO scientist. 30 years back, I was actually part of RCA. So, one year and a half year I was there before my PhD. After masters from IIC and before PhD, I was part of DRDO anyway. And that is not the story. After coming back, the DRDO has given me so many things, so many nice problems and all that. In fact, the entire dimension of research in our lab started from DRDO Agni program again. So then we moved on to program AD and did quite a few good work. And in fact, 2-3 PhDs, masters and all graduated from our lab. So the rest is history. Right now we are doing fantastic project with Dr. Naik, Dr. Das there, which is actually high precision laser pointing system for long range and all that. So we are integral part of DRDO in some sense. And then of course our life is much beyond DRDO, so we'll also talk about other things. But here I'm talking about, I'm representing our startup. I'm not representing IIC per se. That's how I've been invited here as a founder director. And the question of why do you start a startup? Well, the honest answer is out of frustration. Out of frustration, okay. And then because whatever we did for two decades, not 2 years, never ever found an acceptance in neither DRDO or ISRO or anywhere else. I'm telling very honestly. Okay? The reason is every time repeatedly people will ask you who has implemented before. Now if you don't answer that question, who has implemented before, including Chandrayaan by the way, where eventually it got some acceptance finally out of frustration again, from their side, not from our side. Okay, right? So because the mission failed and then they have to do something and that is how it was. So not otherwise first attempt it was not taken. That's how it is. So this mindset of who has done it before should be self forever. Otherwise we are not going to get us anywhere. We can keep talking, we have done this, done that. But if you really talk about actually take chances for being adamant to do it for the first time. And then we do it for the first time with the clear knowledge that there is 30 to 40% chance of failure. And the failure should be respected. Failure should not go, you did something, it failed. So what actually? So you see the attempt, what is input has gone there, you go through the review process, whatever it is. An attempt is 100%, 200%. That should be rather failures should be valued more because you have been adamant. And that is what Elon Musk tells to his people, right? If you do not fail, then you do not innovate. So failure is part of the innovation, but effort should be good. And that is what exactly we told when missile failures were there, initially. The failure is from failures we learned. We tried our best, failures we learned, and hence we see the success. So this entire culture has to be changed. If at all you take it as some sort of a kind of a small input for me. And then coming to the next one, this deep tech industry part. Now all academicians, people like us, can never do this manufacturing industry. That's not our strength. And the country, as far as our country is concerned, what we really need is rather deep tech industries in a large scale. A lot of industries will be there, but none of the industry will go more than 100 employees by the way. But each of the employees, 70% of that will be PhDs by the way. That is our dream. Now the question is, how do you sustain such an infrastructure? Now that kind of thing cannot do like TRL level 8, 9 all the time. I mean, that's what you're looking for, commercial product, off-the-shelf buying product and all that. Now the question is, how do you sustain that? A lot of these innovation research and things like that. That actually can think about something like SBIR, some of you may know that, Small Business Innovative Research Program of USA. They have sustained quite a lot. And in fact, it is actually a recommendation from our side probably to think about a very good large-scale SBIR program, which the government has started talking about in the form of NIRF, National ANRF, Anusandhan National Research and all that. That started thinking, but there are a lot of things needs to be done. Maybe some input can come from the idea as well. What needs to be done for that? Now TRL. Now when you talk about that, then all of us know that there is something called TRL 4 to 6. It's a belly of death. 1 to 3 we can do it. Academics can do very good innovation research and all the published papers, things like that. But unless TRL 7 to 8, no industry or no sorry to say that, but no investor will also come and invest in your thing. And we have learned it hard way in last 1 or 2 years. It is all wastage of time actually. You keep on talking to them, they keep on collecting information, but nobody comes and kind of gives you money. That's ultimately that one. So until you get to TRL level 4, 5, 6, no investor comes. Now the question is how the government is a large ecosystem, including DRDO. How it is sustaining, how it will give that thing. You have to sustain through that. Serious policy problem. The policy problem tells us like this. So if we talk about academic project, fantastic, tons of money, take it. Okay, like whatever it is, no problem at all. 1 crore, 5 crore, 10 crore, now we are operating 20 crores or 50 crores also possible, not a problem. But the question is, are you able to deliver more than 3? Probably not. The moment are you happy with TRL level 3? Not. We are talking about 4, 5, 6 anyway. Now the question is, in a pure academic environment, you can never do that. You really need some technology support. In the sense that we are going to more engineering part, more packaging part, more reliability part, more all sort of things, right? So those things do not get us PhDs. Those things do not get us master's PhD at all. So what you really need to do is do that through some industry partner. Now, if I have developed a technology in my lab for TRL number 1, 2, 3, why should I give that technology to some other startup to do that, or some other? I am there as a professor. Why should I not do that as part of it? Now here is a conflict of interest. So the government tells, or DRDO tells, your finance will tell that there is a conflict of interest, you can't do it. So what do you do? You try to fake the system. How do you fake it? So you try to talk to your neighbor, or colleague or something. He becomes, unnecessarily virtual something. And then you talk about kind of work around the system. Instead of working around the system, why don't you put a policy? That, okay, you have done that work that way, and here is a thing, and you have evaluated yourself, and here is your startup, you are academician, take it. All with all transparency. So that can actually be a policy change in a very big way. It will help us in a very, very good way. So that is one thing. And then coming to other aspect, I think over the period of time, take a little more time, probably.
Sir, we can come back again.
Okay, fine.
Because
I find that
thought-provoking thing that you have brought in. We can come back again, no problem.
I will something 2, 3 more like that. So
One more minute.
Fine. Stop here. Okay. One more. Okay. The one more thing is, okay, what I have observed is throughout our country especially, in fact this high-tech industry for DRDO, ISRO and all that, you have done tons of good work. I mean, of course, no doubt about it. And that is why the systems are there, in the war it is proving, all sort of things are there. But in my own observation, throughout many reviews and things like that, there is not much of, kind of too much of importance is not there for software aspect. This is my observation, I may be wrong. So we give it too much of importance to hardware. So whoever comes, show me something, something has to be seen to believe. Now software is something you cannot show, right? It is actually brain part of it. You can see the head, but you cannot see the brain, right? All of us know that there is a brain. That's why the head is functioning. So the software aspect, if it is given so much of equal importance is hardware, then the hardware and software combination is what you want as a system, and that has to be given so much equal importance rather. So that the entire thing can be operating in the resonance sort of thing. So hardware is very good. I mean, you have got fantastic sensor, actuator, all sort of things. And computer also good. Now we are talking GPU and everything there inside the system. Then why not putting advanced algorithms? So that is something that we need to kind of think about it and talk about the very good importance for that. So I've got a couple of more points. I'll come back and talk to you. Thanks a lot.
Very good, very good. Actually, I'll be expecting some points from my round table partners on these 2 points. What you have said, very interesting problems you have brought about. Which TRL level do you think that DRDO should do? And wherein you should have interface with academia, wherein you should have interface with industry, where you are to withdraw. Your advice is always welcome. But remember one thing, without synergy, all these things do not happen. Synergy is the essence of the whole TRL level and taking technology forward. Sir?
I think it's a very good cue and take from points. I think a lot of good points he has covered. So let me quickly share a small experience of what I had in the last 1 year, I would say. Like more than 20-30 startup founders, had discussions, few collaborations. One of the best things what I have seen this time in India cannot be better than this from every perspective. Support from DRDO, investment opportunities, requirement from the forces, numbers, production, global export. It cannot be better and it has never been like this. So I think starting with that, one of the things what I have seen with a lot of startups is the speed and agility at which the development can happen. And I had an opportunity to meet the 3 founders. These are more than billion-dollar companies in the last couple of months from other countries. I was amazed at the speed at which they are developing technologies. I have seen technologies like 10 kilowatt system from scratch developing in 4 months, an entire ELINT system getting developed in 8 months, and optical tracking system I saw development in 4 weeks. So what is happening globally? Globally, the speed at which the tech, especially the AI has enabled us to run, and the utility of AI as a core engine and a platform, how we are using also is going to define
how innovations we are going to do. Now, taking that as a point, where are we and what are the things? I would summarize it as 3 key points. One is the agility, the second one is the reliability, the third one is the innovation. Agility, innovation, and reliability, we need to pivot on these 3 things. I'll point out to 3 things which are very simple. In fact, from an implementation, Padi sir has brought out that software is not given enough importance as hardware. I'll take it from that. You see, we are looking at developing some next generation advanced systems, software. Let me talk about the software first. When we are talking about developing some next generation systems, India is the best hub from a software where you cannot get better software developers. Go to US and see, the best AI developers are from India. So now, when we have that, it costs for the software to develop. And the software people come from the industry, which is completely having a different culture. So they have work from home. We don't have an option for work from home. We have to come inside work. We have to work without internet. Now ask the people who you are recruiting to code switching off the internet and see what is their performance. We are not asking for internet. So now this is all the framework we need to train the best engineers to come and work for defense. So when we do that, now the cost increases. But when we go and put a cost estimate, one support we would need is to realize that how much it takes effort from the private industry to retain this talent so that the productivity increases, to give them extra cost, and then the cost estimates when we go and discuss with the finance teams. So the cost estimates for few years engineer is compared to a fresher, I would say. So one request is, let us align with respect to that, and understanding, like from Corel, sir has mentioned that R&D projects are not profitable. Believe and ask anyone in this group, R&D projects are not profitable. So it is either we putting money to the R&D project or we are breaking even, which is even good. So with an objective that we get to production. Now the second point, how can we increase the speed of development? You see that the engineers, in fact, I can say entirely, even from DRDO, we have worked with scientists where we are working late nights. We have worked with private companies whom we are working late nights, all of that, including inside DRDO. A bit of flexible culture where, let's say, a different building is there, just for software development, where there are frameworks like CRADA frameworks where you can still give access to internet, which is restricted. They can still work, and let it be a bit more flexible in terms, very simple things, but the impact is going to be very huge in terms of they want to go and have their own coffee. They don't need timelines. They want to work till night, 12 o'clock. They don't need permission. So coming inside, restricted, follow all the guidelines. Going out, restricted, follow all the guidelines. But when they are inside, the way they want to work, let them work. The things will get done. So this is one thing which together we can get to. The third one, which I see a long-term impact on the overall MSc and the startup ecosystem is, you see, one of the things which is from bidding perspective, the projects, the tender process perspective, it's always the least cost, which is fair enough. There is a technical evaluation, which is good, but there is another process called best value source selection process, where the vendors or the partners, I would call, are rated T1, T2. When did we rate partners as L1, L2? Always it is L1, L2, L3, never T1, T2, T3. And you estimate the budget. The budget is, there is an estimation of the budget, and budget is within that. If the T1 partner quotes within the budget, it need not meet the L1 price. The reason is, best quality products and fast innovation cannot happen when you restrict money and also expect the best outcome. This have to go collaboratively together. So this process is existing, best source, best cost, best value source selection. This is called best value source selection as a part of tender process, which is existing in countries like US, Australia. So this is a policy change. I'm not sure whether this can happen, but there is a way we can explore towards that. Thank you.
We are working around this.
process in terms of the system, induction and system building approaches. So it's even the armed forces in their own centers. For example, they are bringing the new processes of R&D projects where they are trying to discuss with the industry directly in order to see what they can build in next year and how this can be inducted with the ADB, which is Army Design Bureau, and as well as which can be inducted with Aero Design Bureaus from Indian Air Force. So the processes are changing there as well. They are not only just going with the L1 approaches, they are doing a very thorough investigations. Even my team has went in a very remote regions of Ladakh, in a very remote regions of Khana Dumti, and different firing ranges in order to basically test the systems and to prove basically that these systems are going to be effective where it is going to be deployed. So all in all, what I really want to pitch on this platform is that, see, everyone in the world is now talking about the sovereignty in their own. So the situation is not going to be far where then when they are going to come back and they're going to say, oh, I'm not able to, provide you these transistors, or I'm not able to give you these chipsets, or I'm not able to give you this and that, because we have to fulfill our own requirements, which is happening into the world. So what we really need to do as a ecosystem partner is, in our country, one of the things where we really need to work on is the consortium-based approaches. We are, in a way or two, we are, killing each other's business. So the most important aspect which we really need to bring to come to the TRL levels, what we have talked about, where our systems are going to be inducted basically, which a soldier need, or which a person who is, into this warfare and in the forward regions handling this warfare needs to be taken from ourselves. Basically, they need to be developed to an extent where the consortium approaches are going to be in the place. The special purpose vehicles together with DRDO is going to be in place. The joint catalyst centers where academia, DRDO, industry can all come together, work with each other, do the tinkering day and night in order to build a product which can be deployed there is something which is needed. Yes, the synergies is something which is, definitely needed. We have to change our approaches from, build to print to build to own. Because once we start doing this, then only we are going to bring a change into the entire country and bring a complete different perspective where even the armed forces are going to take us very, very seriously in terms of induction of the products which are going to go in the forward regions. So that's my take. That's my few cents.
Very good.
Thank you so much for that.
Actually, last three speakers have brought, can industry do a DRDO? Can industry do a DRDO? Or can industry do R&D up to what extent? This is one question. Probably we will be, having some answers at the end of this session. I request all of you to think one minute. Can, industry do R&D? How much? What is your opinion after listening to Venkatesan sir?
Yeah. Can I take that questions first?
Yeah,
Because
please,
it's easy for me.
please.
Yeah.
That is what.
Yeah, so, at Astrom, we kind of spend a lot of time building our own IPs, and these are very differentiated IPs which the world has not seen. We do very extremely high frequency radios, the 80 gigahertz radios, and we kind of integrated both the radio as well as the antenna inside one box, which the world has not seen today at those frequencies. And the core IP is around electronic beam steering in 80 gigahertz. And we've kind of taken those technologies and adopted it both in the terrestrial world as well as the communication payload world. So to answer your question, sir, the risk that we've taken 10 years ago is to kind of build full products. We decided to be a product company, although we had a lot of pressures from both India and the world to do a lot of services-oriented stuff, but we stuck to the course, and I think it's kind of paying off now. So we took a long time to kind of reach where we are today. We are prime time, which means that we are TRL 9, and we are kind of looking at, we're kind of serving the Indian Army, thanks to, BEL, who's kind of taking that leadership along with HAL and putting that MOD, corpus, many, many years ago, and we are kind of winners of 4 IDEX programs today, right? And thanks to, I echo everybody's sentiments here. There's never been a time as good as what it is today. I've been in the industry for almost 3.5 decades, right? It's great to have access. 10 years ago, it was very difficult to have access to bureaucrats, to ministers, to even the PMO's office. Today, as a startup, I'm very proud to say it's not too difficult to meet any of these gentlemen. And the best part today is governments are coming to us, every ministry is coming to us and saying, how can we help you? And I want to give a success story here, right? Many success stories. MOD is a classic example where they put the IDEX program in place. We are winners of that, and their equity fee grants, the way we look at it, equity fee grants, right? And no IP ownership. IP is completely the startup, right? That's number one. Number two, the Telecom Technology Development Fund, which actually Ashwini Vaishnav started it about a couple of years ago. And I'm very, very happy to say that right from the minister downwards, he was the only one who understood what we were doing from a technological perspective. In 90 minutes flat, he understood what we were doing, and he called the secretary and said, this is the kind of startup and technology that I want to fund. And that's how the TTDF was formed, the Telecom Technology Development Fund of 500 crores 4 or 5 years ago. So we were one of the earliest recipients of the TTDF fund as well to kind of build our products. So the short answer to your question, sir, is that, you know, startups today, I'm kind of talking on behalf of all the deep tech startups in India. Startups today are come of age to kind of do full products from India to the world.
Very good, very good. That's very good. Actually, I just want one more question, 1 or 2 or 3 questions. I will just say, please see whether you have answers. Are you aware of all those programs, processes that DRDO has initiated? TDF. Today morning Madam must have been talking to you about TDF. How many of you are aware of it? Can you raise the hand? TDF programs of DRDO? Oh, quite a lot. Very good, very good. The others should know about it. Others should know about it. Do you know that we have DISUEs, DRDO Industry Academia Centers of Excellence, 15 centers so far, which covers all the academic institutions. Anybody can take projects through the centers. How many of you have taken such projects? Any hands? Yeah. Only 2. Please understand this. Now, what Venkatesh sir has said, you don't have to wait for technology to be matured and getting ready for product fruits only for plucking. You can start from the beginning itself. There is possibility of interacting, getting fund right from the beginning, and you will be able to go together with DRDO. So it is not replacing DRDO. We are not talking about fighting a war with DRDO or among yourself. We are talking about a synergy. How you can work together and bring in this energy. Quickly, sir, 1 minute.
So can industry do R&D that was put together? It is possible. I think, as I earlier said, most of us are spending our dollars or rupees in doing R&D. And industry can develop full-fledged products. And with guidance from DRDO, when I talk synergy, the DRDO has the domain strength. With that knowledge, industry can develop products. Industry can also take a user problem and develop a full-fledged product, whether it is at airborne or shipborne, radar or EW or software-defined radio. Industry is capable of doing it. I can definitely vouch for Coral. What is also important at the same time, once I develop the product where I sell it, I need a customer to sell the product. And that is what we have to have that clarity. And when in a competitive scenario, when multiple vendors are developing products, if we can follow a US model where for a given product, a couple of industries are selected and the cost of development is completely borne by the government.
Actually, what sir has said, please listen to him. Industry can develop a product, but there are 2 other major things. The points what has been told is, who has done it before? These questions, how do you answer? For that, there is a system which you have to follow while progressing to a product delivered to the user. You have to follow every process. So industry can, without these questions asked, whether who has used it before. Without that, you should be able to deliver the product, the first time product to the user. This is the challenge what we have. Together with DRDO, the industry has. The first time you are developing, and that has to reach to the user, and they should feel that this is better than the best, that I'll be able to defeat the enemy with this. This is what is the challenge. The challenge is not developing one product. Challenge is delivering better than the best product that the user accepts without asking you, have you given to anybody? User should say, don't give to anybody. Right.
So there are two threads over here. First one is, can an industry do a DRDO? So I'd like to bring up this thought that none of us is as strong as all of us, right? So I mean, so each one of us bring to the table those complementary skills, which when put together will build a system that is sustained or that stands out. Okay, so that's the spirit. And like we discussed, DRDO has the experience of building systems for 70 years now. So that's something which a startup or an industry cannot build overnight. Okay, so we should always think about what are the problems that we can solve together, not in isolation. So that spirit is actually brought up right from the beginning. So the second one is, do companies thrive on innovation, or that's the second one. Of course, all the industries, they live or die, based on the innovation that they do. But then in the Indian context right now where we are sitting, there is a unique opportunity where there are multiple startups or companies which can build a successful business even without having to innovate. Because, let's say there's an indigenous push. Okay, we want to replace some of the parts with Indian parts. Maybe a textbook structure is just good enough when implemented, meet all the specifications. I mean, like the saying, you don't need a nuclear weapon to kill a mosquito. Okay, so if the spec is there, which can be met using standard topologies and makes business sense, that's perfectly fine too. But yeah, so the answer is, we live by innovation, all the companies. The differentiation is what brings us to the table. Thank you.
The first question, whether industry can become another DRDO, that our previous speakers, they spoke about it. My thinking is slightly different. Already the DRDO is structured very well. I think there is no need for creation of another set of competition for DRDO. But our topic today is synergy. I think that is more aptly titled, where the DRDO helps probably defines the product specification or the subsystem specification. It can tell industry to develop. That will be more successful because finally our armed forces is the end user. Our platform architecture or the structure, the component, the long-term maintenance, all have to be defined at the centrally thinking for the futures. I think industry can work with DRDO to develop the product, innovate the product for the requirements or the specifications given by DRDO. Thank you.
Very good. Sir, Professor Padhi.
My 3 minutes pending, so 3 plus 1, 4, then I go there.
Sir, what we do, this 1 minute thing will be over. I'll give you to summarize. I'll request you to summarize.
I think can really good R&D products be done in industry? Answer to that is clear yes. Why yes? Capital. The reason is there is no job security and hence you run faster. The question of that actually troubles the industry quite a lot. And in fact, it is not about doing the job and doing the job right, but doing the job rapidly, quickly. That rapidly, quickly and all that comes when you have both incentive as well as penalty. Carrot and stick policy, what you call it. The flat sort of structure doesn't hold good, and that is why you see Western world or wherever it is, a lot of innovation happening in big time is primarily because of that. And that is what the so-called deep tech industry, in real deep tech, has when financial crunch and things like that have to run. And that is the reason, not that DRDO is anybody, there are equally good and fantastic, beautiful experience in terms of all that is there, but this factor is simply missing. And that is why the industry can actually do much better than that.
So can industry replicate DRDO or develop products like DRDO? Rather, I would think
actually you have taken it in a different way. Don't take it that way. How, along with DRDO, the ecosystem, what do you think anything can be done? It is not as a competition or replacement. Basically, what has been discussed is how, along with DRDO, you can progress and all these systems that has been put in, how you can effectively use it. The ecosystem that is presently that is there, how you can make it more vibrant, more useful. Is there any, problem in between?
In fact, my thought was that only, sir. Sorry. So I think today's need of the hour, if we see, there is so much of innovation which is required. Organization, apart from technical things, one thing which I spent on is converging the team towards a singular vision. I see DRDO and also the private industry in defense towards a singular vision of delivering systems to the Indian forces. If it is a singular vision, there is no point of competition. First is that. The second is, you see the impact every individual as a team. Okay, so in terms of can we synergize and develop huge potential. I'll give and steers towards a different direction, the time which we might save in development reduces. The impact of that is not just that. The impact of that is much more that becomes successful towards more number of systems creating employment. So same with the managers. So if we are working towards a singular vision, we are all working towards delivering the best systems. The requirement in the industry is huge, where we have to get better than all the countries globally and position ourselves very strong. So I think we should work together. Collaborative synergy is huge and is happening. I see that happening, which is a very, very positive thing.
So I will basically take it from here only. He's raised a very important and very interesting point. So if you see globally, if you see in, for example, European Horizon 2020 or 25, or if you see SBIR in general, what they do is, they always, that organization is more a delegation organization which says, okay, these are my appointed people, this is a bigger program, what needs to be done, and why not you bring a good consortium in place in order to basically get this whole thing executed. So they bring 2, 3, 4 consortiums in parallel, and these consortiums basically in parallel develop the products and try to come to a maturity of TRL 679, whatever it is, and demonstrate it to the armed forces. So where we really need to start is joint catalyst centers together with the fostering the energy of DRDO as well as industry and as well as academia, all three together in order to realize the product first to a specific TRL levels. Then of course we need to take it to a product level where it can be pitched to the armed forces, where it can be shown that the trials can be done, the TCs can be done in order to really get this inducted into the overall framework. Each one of the scientists who are sitting here, you are champion in your fields. If we get a limited amount of even support and direction and guidance, this can really help us to foster in the right direction. Thank you.
Yeah, sir, with your permission, I'd like to actually look at this from a solutioning standpoint. Okay, so look at the need of the hour today. The need of the hour today is India needs a defense communication satellite ecosystem today. We cannot depend on Starlink. Right? You know what has happened in the recent tensions that's going on in the world. Right? Everybody realizes that if he turns off the tap, our communication systems is dead. So today there's a big discussion going on in MOD, in defense industry circles, with the ministry, all interministerial, saying that we require a constellation of communication from a defense perspective. Right? Starting from there, then we talk about the other non-defense. So I think we should take this as a problem statement in this particular forum. We have all the bright brains here. I'm looking at solving the synergy issue. I'm saying, who's my customer from my standpoint, Astron or anybody up here? The customer here is an armed forces. Who is DRDO's customer? Armed forces again, right forces again. So what's the problem? We have the problem is coming from the customer saying, we require this kind of a constellation with synergy from DRDO and the industry. Why don't we take this as a case study and prove to the world that DRDO and the industry can solve this problem for the nation and for the security of India?
That's wonderful. I think now, this panel, they have really looked at it in a vivid way. They have brought in some of their experiences, and now you deserve to respond. One or two responses quickly. At least we think that you are there in the round table and not sleeping. One or two, otherwise I have to start speaking. I really thank the organizers for making this round table. It is a possibility that has come up. Each and every one of you, I am sure, must be having an experience in technology and product development. And all of you must be thinking in your mind, what should be my point when I am asked a point for this country to go and grow as a technology leader, how I should be a party to it, and how all the government is supporting me, what more they could do, and the ecosystem, how I can use in a better manner. Now, whether DRDO has to be a catalyst, accelerator, and a promoter, CAP. Can DRDO act as that? Shall I consider DRDO as that? And as he has rightly pointed out, there are some niche areas where nobody works for it, but I need for my innovation to fructify. There are some technologies that is required. Can DRDO support me in that? So we should be looking at how this DRDO and the mechanisms that has been made, DIA, COE, TDF, many other mechanisms that has come. We are developing together with the industry. Yeah, we have industry as our development partners. Then we have our DCPPs. This lot of products are being developed. Whatever product, that even Cochin Shipyard at the beginning itself, that HEA, High Endurance AUV, they are a partner. Even the technology for proving. So it is happening in public sector, it is happening in private sector, it is happening with individuals, who are coming forward and making startups possible. So I'm sure all of you have sounded that definitely DRDO's role is significant, and you can all work with together. We can win in the world. Now, the last word is from, definitely it should be from Das sir, who is the mastermind of the total synergy that we have. And I request sir to say few points.
Yeah, I think first and foremost it's a wonderful concept. We thought of bringing out a round table so that we get the view from different segment of this ecosystems. So this round table was for startups and MSME. I think tomorrow we have got a round table for the large scale industries. So the concept is their perspective, and it is so wonderful to hear. And some are deep, some are tangential, like Professor Pari, and I hope so and quite expected so. You are still left out. So it all gives us all dimensions to think actually. As a DRDO, inside DRDO Bhavan, we think from our perspective. And of course we understand the defense ecosystems. But the whole purpose here from this roundtable, in fact, I was educated, especially from all of you, understanding that what are dimensions from DRDO angle we should think that we can take the country forward. And definitely from all your thought process we have captured, video recorded, also our expert team is also capturing them, jotting down them. We will have lots of debate and discussions to put a clear way forward, not as a DRDO, as a defense ecosystems today, how we are going to march forward. I think there not I go forward because Professor is behind with his 3 minutes. Best will be to finish his balance. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Now, I cannot take the mic back, no?
Yeah, this is an inspiration from Dr. Das anyway. Stand, you get more energy. No, it's nothing to criticize. We are all together anyway, so we have to actually find ways, and we are doing that over the period of last 20 years. Without DRDO, my promotion would not have happened. So that is how it is. That's also honesty. But having said that, I talked about a few things. Now I'll talk again, devil's advocate, 2-3 more things. Through DRDO, probably we like to have a layered funding. So every funding that we're talking about and everything that we're talking about is starting from everybody can participate, from zero to anybody. That probably can you think about a structured way. In other words, you have a TRL level 1, 2, 3, lesser funding, but anybody can participate. When you go to level more, only among those can participate. Then you talk about, let's say you start with 1,000 people, 1,000 project. The next layer can be maybe 600, 400 out. Then next layer can be 400, next layer can be 200. The TRL level keeps on increasing, funding level keeps on increasing, but the number of people keeps on reducing. So that structure, if you bring it, then the TRL level can actually improve very well. That's my feeling.
This is noted, sir.
Okay. The second one, that we talk about lot of innovations nowadays that we have actually tried to apply for some of that, especially deep tech startups. Many times you are plagued with the requirement that 30% to 40% you have to invest. That means we will give you money, but 30% has to be from the startup itself. Now where the poor professor will get money? I mean, we have ideas, but no money. It's like we talk about 30% of 10 crores, 3 crores. I mean, I sell out all my properties, will not get 33 crores anyway. So that's not going to happen. The question is, suppose you tie up that, but that is having a purpose, by the way. When you talk about 30%, there is a purpose behind that. So when you are selected among 1,000 people, let's say there is no collateral like that. But when you move along, that means you selected from that pool. Then you start with 10%, then go to 20%, then go to 30% like that. If you do that way, then many of the startups can actually come forward. That will happen, basically.
Noted.
Okay, second, third point. No, my 3 minutes, not done. Right? Now we are talking about another thing. I have been talking about, we are talking about participation of the armed forces and all that. Through you, I will take a message that, okay, can you really talk to them properly, and in fact, whenever I get chance, I talk to them. There is something called NCNC. No cost, no commitment. So if you have no cost and no commitment, why should I go? I mean, you are not giving the cost to go, you are not giving commitment also, then why should I go? I mean, I don't have money to go, that's how it is. So I don't need commitment. But at least select it through VC or something, some VC or something you select, and particularly talk about these people we want, and you will not give me commitment. But at least your cost of travel and all that are taken. Then we'll participate eagerly. That will enable a lot of startups to actually go there and participate meaningfully.
So this is nothing but participatory development and joint development.
Exactly, something like that. Think about it. Another point. Okay, so there is something in all our proposals, whatever you tell about it, because if it is coming from a startup, academic of course not. But at the moment you talk about a startup or medium scale industry or any industry, there is a component called profit. Okay? That is not there in our proposal. Okay? Then if there is no profit, then how can you sustain? Then you talk about doing round tables under the table way. There is a profit where you don't declare. Right? There is a profit where you don't declare, basically, right? Eventually you get it anyway, otherwise you cannot sustain. But why don't you make it official, legal? Because without profit, no company can ever exist, basically, right? So this 30% that you generate from the round 1, I will rather invest in round 2. And then that will give me round 3. Legal way, very open way, transparent way. Think about policy set, whatever that kind of thing.
Very much possible, like Tatkal ticket.
No, there is a profit column in US proposals, by the way, up to 30% you can declare profit, by the way. This is actually there in the world. So when you talk about startups or private industry and all that, why don't you talk about a profit? I mean, they exist for what?
Yeah, for sure.
Not sustainable otherwise, right? And if you allow me, I will have a little bit of, allow me of course, this is not part of this out of syllabus question. This is something called DRDO internal thing. So because I was a part of DRDO, since that I will think about that. So there is a little bit of motivation factor for middle level to junior level scientists. The reason being everybody wants to be DRDO chairman one day. No, but everybody wants to be DRDO chairman one day, and they are all in the race for that only. So that means I need to be like director, group director, something like that, DRDG, all that chain everybody knows, right? In that process, you lose lot of scientists. Right? Lot of deep thinking scientists, you lose it, and I can give any names by the way. So actually, I recommend seriously rather to think about a parallel structure, at least 30% or something, which will have equal weightage as DGs and chairman. Okay? In fact, if you put a front row, one row should be reserved for those people. That is very easy, no cost, right? Or at least the second row, right? Designate that people. They are known within the DRDO, what I call as horizontal growth, not vertical growth. Horizontal growth will actually given to many people. Vertical growth, chairman is only one person, right? That's not possible. So that is how you can think about some internal things like that. Of course, there are incentive issues. In other words, why should I work? I will talk to many DRDO scientists or scientists. Why should I work? My salary is same. So you talk about something that we get in IISc or something. What you talk about? Some sort of a salary top up. Okay. Now, how do you salary top up? Now, of course, there are mechanisms that you can build in. Okay, right? In fact, there are mechanisms in Israel. Other people, some people, I don't know whether that is true or wrong. Some Korea, Israel, and all that. They talk about a fixed component of the salary and the variable component of the salary that you bid internally and get it. Essentially, that is the structure. Essentially, there is fixed component. Whatever you are getting, let's say. Another 50% you will be eligible for bidding and getting the project. Then you can get some incentive right there to do that. And that has to be like a project mode itself. So think about it. These couple of comments for the internal DRDO.
Thank you, sir.
Very much.
That's wonderful. I profusely thank each and every one of you. This is not the end. This is the beginning. The round table never stops. It goes and goes and goes till you come out with a solution. At the end of the day, we should all have this take, that sensor multi-layered, sensor architecture that we require. Everybody has a place. All of you have a place. All of you need sensors. In the days to come, without sensing, you cannot move. The sense perception will not be limited to your 5 sensors. You have to have extended arms. So you have to go for it. Whether you go for war or whether you want peace, you have to have sensors. Without that, there is no go. And for that, a synergy collaboration is required. At the moment, in the country, we have the minimum synergy for developing sensors, and it has to be maximized. The possibilities are large, the users are large, and the government is very much in our favor. Why not we go ahead? Can we go ahead or not? Yes, that's what it is. Over the tea, I think, I don't know, now or later, we'll have tea later. Yeah, at the tea time, please let us discuss. And these people are what I have said, catalysts, accelerators, and promoters for all of us. Ready, no? Ready for this collaboration? Right. Let's give a big hand to them, and let's give a big hand to the organizers. Actually, one more secret I'll tell you. Sir has given me first 1 hour. Then you said you have actually only 45 minutes. Now sir has agreed to give 1 hour, and we have used 1 hour fully. Thank you very much.
So one moment. Sir, I would request to felicitate all the dignitaries. I would like to invite DGECS to present a memento to Manu sir.
Before presenting memento, I must place on record the huge contributions of Dr. Manu Karula, Director General Resources Management for DRDO, because he is almost ending his long career of DRDO in another 2 days. And all that you see in DRDO has been because of his huge contributions. And look, 2 days left, he still honored my request and flew all the way from Delhi to this place. And look at the energy level. This is what DRDO is. We are never tired.
you all. That was a truly fruitful discussion. We next move to the panel discussion, and the theme for this discussion is Way Forward for DRDO Towards Defense Ecosystem. The objective of this discussion, to discuss how India can build a robust, self-sustaining defense research and development ecosystem by fostering synergy among DRDO, industry and startups, enabling faster innovation, technology absorption and operational readiness. The moderator for this panel will be Dr. B.K. Das, DG ECS DRDO. The focus of the discussion, creation of sustainable collaborative defense R&D ecosystem that accelerates innovation and digitization. Discussion points: aligning and synchronizing R&D agenda of DRDO and industry, digital onboarding and cybersecurity, adaptability, scalability and sustainability of defense systems in current and future war scenarios, sharing infrastructure among DRDO users and industry. Now I call upon the panelists for the discussion. Mr. Vedaveer, first I request our DG ECS to come on the dais. And joined with him are Mr. Vedaveer Arya, Additional FA and JS, Shri Manoj Jain, CMD BEL, Mr. Ajay Kumar Srivatsava, Director Engineering R&D HAL, Shri Rangarajan, CMD Data Pattern, Shri M.V. Reddy, Joint MD Astra Microwave Private Limited, and Mr. Nilesh, GM and Head Electronics L&T. Let's give them a huge round of applause. Now I leave the dais for the panel discussion.
So good afternoon, friends. Welcome back again. Yeah, this is the last event of the day. That's the good news for the day. But the tough news for you is we have a wonderful cultural event and dinner heading here at 7:30, and I have no plan to give you a break so that you get a chance to go back to home and vanish. Rest you can guess what this panel discussion is heading at. Yeah, everyone looks at the watch, including those who are dreaming to fly back to Delhi. God save them. One is flown, huh? Fantastic guy. Okay. Right, friends, I think a wonderful day, so much of debate, so much of deliberations, so much of discussions, and especially the cream of the whole game was on the round table where so many things have happened, so many tangential thoughts have been evolved, and people have put forth their thinking. We have got the eminent panelists here, and we are definitely going to discuss a very, very important topic which has already been introduced forward by our anchor, Way Forward for DRDO Towards Defense Ecosystems. I think we all are talking about this. As lots and lots has been debated, discussed during the day. Couple of points are really bothering us, that how are we going to take R&D forward? Is it DRDO alone has the responsibility and the mandate to do R&D? Or is it that all industries and DRDO together should come forward for R&D? I'm talking about research, not about delivering products. Delivering products always we do together. So for the core research, is it that we all should sign forward to take country? Or is it that that is the role and mandate of only DRDO? It's a topic of concern all of us have to discuss. How are you going to help it forward that the deep tech research happens, that our Honorable Prime Minister has given a mandate that India is going to be a world leader? This reminds me of Dr. Kalam, who always say fifth country syndrome. Anytime you guys make a missile story successful or make a tank superb, you say we are the third country in the world to do it, we are the fourth country to achieve this, we are the fifth country to do it. So Kalam used to say this as a fifth country syndrome. Can we come out of it and somewhere make it as a first country syndrome? Can India be a first country in something? So that's another thing to ponder over, and that cannot happen merely by copying, production, duplicating, replicating, and so on and so forth. So, what are the options out? As a fund has been already opened up to multiple ways. India is definitely funding it forward. Our startups have said that the absolute open door policy by government, that you can step in and ask your systems and meet people are there to go forward. So fund is not really an issue. So where is that issue which is stopping us forward? And India 2047. A few minutes back, I had a wonderful idea from Sumit, Dr. Sumit, who said that 2047 is too late. We want to do it much faster. Is it really so? Are we prepared for it? What is that which is pulling us back? Can next 1.5 hour answer these great questions from this eminent panelist? I think setting the course running, though not priority-wise start, but definitely it's most critical at this point of a time. When we realize something great, we always talk about finance. We say finance is the big difficulty for us because of the finance we are having difficulty. So we'll get into the debate of whether finance is really the stumbling block. Before that, quickly I will just introduce all of you to the panelists. To my right is none other than Dr. Vedveer Arya, Additional Financial Advisor and JS for DRDO. And the person, you understand? Okay. The next to him is Dr. Ajay Kumar Srivastava, Director Engineering R&D, Industrial Aeronautics Limited. The one man who makes us proud of all LCAs and few other great stuffs in the sky and many more things. And to his right is our electronics hero, none other than Manoj Jain sir, who has been the Chairman and Managing Director of Bharat Electronics Limited, the company who carries Bharat with him always. So it has been a great feeling to have you here again. Again to his right is none other than my friend, Dr. Rangarajanji, who is leading another very great private company called Data Patterns, right? Data Pattern India. We all India. Data Pattern India. So he has been a strong force. And I tell you, other than professors, if anybody who cannot disconnect a microphone without, it is Rangarajan sir. And his commitment, his energy level, his drive is phenomenal. Of course, he was suffering from some issues, so that is why he was struggling. We are so happy, sir, that you could find time to come here and really completed my panel. Thanks a lot for that. To his right is his best friend. I'm so happy about is Astra Microwave, MB Reddy sir, MB Reddy Garu. So who has been again our great partner in electronics, so many production orders, so many developments, so many design and things have been having from Astra Microwave. We are so happy that you could find time to come and join. Oh, my friend has come, I didn't see you there, Nilesh. So Nilesh is there from Larsen and Toubro. That's another great company who has created new stories, not only from infra or other stuffs, now I think more with light hacks. And many more such big platforms to be. I think what could have been a better panelist than that, where I've got the finance, we've got different PSUs, we've got great private successful players, and whatever is less in the stage is more in the audience. So I think together we will make it a very eventful one. So as a sequence, and more so, already Additional Affairs threatened me that he has to fly to Delhi, and I have to also reach Delhi someday. So I can't take chance with him. So we will start, we have to start with Additional Affairs. General perception. The perception around the community, first is from the industry's perspective. They all feel that finance has been a big restrictions. It is limiting us from scaling up our total programs. We want to do so much, so forward. How DRDO can support us? I think few of the suggestions have also come during panels and round tables. Can DRDO do our hand holding? Can together with the finance professor also said, सारा जमीन जायदाद बेचने के बाद भी 3 करोड़ नहीं मिल रहा है तो मैं रिसर्च कहाँ से करूँगा? आपका जवाब यहाँ से मिलेगा, because सारा पैसा इधर है वहीं आपके पास आएगा. So ये सवाल का जवाब आप ही दे सकते हैं साहब. You have to say how do we empower our people, our professors, our talent, that money should not be a stumbling block from taking India to the next level. I think this is one very pertinent questions from external environment of DRDO. Internal environment of DRDO, I have a very critical question which all my scientists pose for. Can R&D These are the two aspects, if you can touch upon in the next couple of minutes. Over to you.
Thank you. DGSS is very kind enough to give me the mic first and ask 2 tough questions. First, because the title is Samanvaya. It's not synergy between 2 individuals, DRDO's aspirations and industry's aspirations. But finally, both must converge with the national aspirations. That's why Samanvaya is required. Funding from the government is not an incentive for the R&D, nor it's a welfare. It's actually funding have a certain objectives to be. But yes, government sector, because public finance, you have to follow the certain procedures if you need funds. That's why sometimes leapfrogging itself a challenge. The pole vault, the morning Mashalkar, he told me that we have to do the pole vaulting. That may be next to impossible in the government. This is the reason why we need industry and academia together so that all three can make this possible. As far as funding it, because in the Make One, government is ready to fund 250 crores, but still date not a single project could take off. The problem is there are certain risks. How industry is ready to cover those risks in case we are giving just BTS and only develop. If you are not meeting the requirement, then there is a risk. So this we need to address together. Why not we come out of a unified roadmap for the defense army, where the DRDO's role as well as the industry's role is clearly defined, so that we can take a project where shared funds, 50% to the industry or as per the work share. With that way we can cover the risks. Instead of generally industry wants BTP kind of an order, so that even the design related risks have been taken care of DRDO, then it's an easy task for us, especially for the industry. So in the public finance, certain procedures are important to be followed, because in the democratic system that's you can't avoid that one. But still there are a lot of avenues we have. In case we can come out of a combined project for developing a certain system, or which actually going to reduce our import dependency, and finally that goes back to, so that we have to achieve self-reliance in the defense, because nation building is the role of every Indian, and defending the nation is also the role of every Indian. So industry has also that responsibility, because industry can go only a well-defended nation. So defense is the responsibility of every Indian, irrespective of the whether in the government or out of the government. So funding presently, because I know 10 years back or at least 7-8 years back it was very difficult, but now government has provided enough avenues. Only we need to achieve certain objectives, because achieving the objective finally end going to justify the needs. So how we are going to achieve the results? If we have a good roadmap, then funding will not be any problem at all. As regards the L1 problem, yes, it is the easiest way in the government to, generally in a decision making, there would be, it's a tough task. So L1 is the easiest way to say that now it's a fair game. But yes, there are the QCBS system is there, but a lot of subjectivity is there when you are going to the QCBS system. But yes, that one industry person, he just had the best value selection process. Yes, there is a lot of homework is required to do so. So that's not a already well-defined process is available in the MOF procedures. But QCBS needs a lot of evaluation. And finally, you have to make it more objective. Then finally, everybody thinks that it's better to take a L1 route. But there are enough freedom and powers are given to the CFA as well as the financial advisor. You can decide based on the, but finally, we must achieve the results. It should not that we followed all that one, but we have not achieved the results. So if we are focused and we are going to achieve the results, and we have the, I'm not saying 100%, even 50, 60, 70% if we are able, majority of the cases if we can achieve the results, the government will have the full confidence on our team, and they can give you even much better powers to take the decisions. Thank you.
Very difficult to ask questions to Additional FA, and very easily he answers that. I think we are very lucky to have such a finance man with DRDO, who is absolutely pro R&D, and that's the reason we are able to get so much of the support from him. Thank you, sir. Thank you so much for all your support and contributions. Yeah. Very interesting thing I'm finding out. Bangalore at morning 9 o'clock, the hall was full. Afternoon 2 o'clock, after such a sumptuous lunch, the hall was full. Evening at the end hours, the hall is full. I think this audience deserves a huge round of applause. And not only here, The video feed on the other hall is also full and the chairs are still needed. That's the beauty, that's the commitment, as I said on my welcome talk today. Now taking it forward today, we are very, very lucky that we have got a great industry called Hindustan Aeronautics Limited. If one is catching Bharat, other is catching Hindustan. So together they bind our country. The man who is reigning the sky, the company through whom we are dreaming that India should have its own fighter aircrafts, the company through which we are imagining such big things to happen, that our armed forces reign the sky or conquer the sky through our aircrafts. That happens through HAL. And the director R&D, HAL, is with us. I have a very pertinent questions to him. I know it's a very little uncomfortable question for him. The reason being, the whole country looks up to, if I talk about fighter aircrafts today, any meetings we had with Chief of the Air, we are all looking for the numbers at the air list. So Hindustan Aeronautics is under extreme pressure today that we have to deliver the fighter aircrafts. But I always say a fighter is a toy in the sky if it doesn't have its arms and ammunitions and the sensors. Now he has a big question mark crossroad. Whether he will wait to take the indigenous sensors to the indigenous aircraft, or he will meet the timeline by taking the import sensors with the indigenous aircraft. And if he follows the second, how does he maintain the sustainability? And if he follows the first, how does he live up to the expectation of the Air Force? Can I have the liberty to ask these questions? Beyond this, of course, this is definitely one of the critical questions, but beyond that, a very, very important, he's a big brother for the country. What is his vision forward and the way forward, that he carries the defense ecosystems, that they are the only fellows today who are making aircrafts. But morning I had a heavy loaded point today, we are still curtailed by importing the transport aircraft abroad to make a AWNC Mark II. Why India is crippled so much today? How can we enhance the aircraft industry that just to convert green to blue or blue to yellow, or I don't understand those colors, but we become the slave of it so far as the dictation from the industries are concerned. Why after this, what is the way forward for it? I think these are the two questions for you, sir. Over to you.
Thank you so much, Dasar. First for inviting me here and making me a panel member of this elite panel. Thank you so much. The issues which you brought out are very, very relevant. In fact, it may be an exaggeration, but when Concorde met with that accident in 99-2000, I was in France at that point of time. And anybody you meet in Toulouse, in Paris, even sensors. Let me make it absolutely clear. We are in for anything which is indigenous. Anything. Whether it is radar, whether it is EW system, whether it is any other system. And I can go in length talking about what HAL has done and what I have done in particular about supporting various DRDO labs. Whatever they came up with, we extended why only hand about extending our own selves and being part of them. Right from, we can say, if I remember correctly, Semica systems from your oceanographic labs. That was one of the initial systems which we integrated in our Dorniers. Then LRD's SV2000 radars, we integrated on Dorniers. Subsequent to that, Eagle ESM systems produced by Bell, we integrated in so many of our aircraft. And the list goes on. Coming to even the radar which goes on, which is not still proven, but we installed on Dornier. The SDRs we installed, the IRDE and LRD developed, UIR system we installed, ESM system we have installed. So the list goes on. It is question of where, when and where we are ready. to be able to be providing the platforms and enable the whole ecosystem to come in for whatever is required, whether it is ground testing, whether it is flight testing, and so on and so forth. Because as you are saying, we are ourselves really hard pressed in terms of timelines. We have already been behind timelines for certain reasons which are our own, and for certain reasons which are, yes, not in our control, but as a signatory to the contract, we are responsible for that. Yes, we are. We don't go away or do away from our responsibilities. But yes, of late probably some of you would have heard the news of certain positives which have happened about successful firing of some of the missile systems which were pending for quite some time. Both, and there also it is, one is imported, one is indigenous. So the short range one is the imported one, and the BVR one is the indigenous one, made by DRDO only, which we have successfully fired very recently. It may not have come to notice of everyone, but those who are supposed to be knowing, they all know that we have moved ahead. So on those two fronts, yes, definitely we have moved ahead. On the remaining, what DASAB was hinting at, the major radars and the EW system. As I myself went to his office and extended all my support towards either enabling through LCA Mark 1 aircraft, and the moment we get sufficient breakthroughs or enough confidence, and the moment we can enable some of our platforms to be given for testing on LCA Mark 1A also. I extend wholehearted support to the system which are developed by LRD and by DLRF and by CASTIC, the EW systems. So we stand fully committed and fully behind all the DRDO labs, whosoever are contributing towards development of these kind of sensors. In fact, I would suggest that we should not be sitting on the laurels which we are going to achieve, which we are already developed. Please keep the pace of development increased so that we don't just, as you also hinted, or in the previous discussions people were hinting, why to be always trying to catch up with the world? Why to always be seen like that? Right now we are number 3 or number 4 and we want to become number 2 in 5 years, and then try and become number 1. Why not start aiming for becoming number 1? Wherever, now there is no dearth of information, fortunately. And we all know where the world is heading to. So it is high time that we start, as we discussed in the morning, pole vaulting. There are no second ways about that. If it requires money, money should be put. If it requires more resources to be put. But it is high time that we start pole vaulting. Even leapfrogging will not help. Because where the world is, we have seen in Operation Sindoor, as to we have to be on our own. We should not comment on anything further on that. But we should be on our own. It is high time that we start doing whatever we can towards that, be it Defense PSU on our side, or DRDO as a development organization, or production organizations, including BEL and so many other defense PSUs, not only that. Also the private sectors. We have giants like Data Pattern, Astra Microwave. In the morning we heard about Corel and everybody. They are doing wonderful work. So we need to handhold each other. We need to extend support, and also I would say, maybe as an opening remark also, when Dr. Das said whether only DRDO, why only DRDO? We need to come together with our own strengths, everyone. We have our own R&D centers. We have more than 2,000 designers in HAL in different R&D centers. And some of them are dedicated to specific areas like airframe design or fixed wing design or helicopter design. Some are dedicated to electronics like SLRDCs. and some are there for accessories, like Lucknow Division ASCRDC and things like that. So we have a full-fledged R&D center, so has Bell. So we need to see, like, how do we leapfrog or pole vault and come together with DRDO. Yes, DRDO is a parent organization for basic R&Ds. And R&Ds, when we say, it should not be only project-based. As I am driving home in my organization, it should be towards technology development also, and not only looking for immediate future, next 5 years, 10 years. We should aim for right now, or maybe what we may be requiring 2047 also. So that is where I am. I thought I answered your first question. Second was what, sir?
Second, I'll come back to you.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, I think I must place on record one thing. Srivastava is a very good friend of mine, as he referred to when he came to me, and when we were really high and dry. He has supported me, I must tell you, and in the joint meeting also he has committed. A man who really believes that the Indian sensors will fly with the Indian fighters, and he has committed to me. It will definitely happen. Guys are here, supply chain is here. By December, you all should get your orders. Don't worry. So it will all happen, and we all feel for it. I understand his feeling. That's why I said the crossroad where the chair is. I am with you, but together I am sure we can make a great ecosystems for the country. Wonderful. So I think having taken a leapfrog from this DPSU to that DPSU, yeah, a man on electronics, morning you had his wonderful speech about the total synergy, how it has to happen together. But today I have a little tricky and a different question for him. That you have been a big brother for electronics for the country. And you have got PDIC, you have got so many deep research institutions. So, have you identified certain core technology areas where the Indian defense needs today? And though your Akash Tir and various other things have been great success in the ups and those, kudos for that. But coming back to the deep research which I'm talking about to take my country to the top, have you identified some real game-changing areas, and whether Bell has really focused to invest time, money, effort to take the country forward to the next level with such kind of a technology innovations? That's my question number one for you. And the question number two, which is more relevant, is what are your plans to carry the defense ecosystems around you with MSMEs and startups together, building a next generation bigger Bell, which will be the challenging to the rest of the world? And to answer both of you, you two are the real deep pocket TPSUs here sitting. And you'll be knowing that about we have conducted a deep tech contest in this event, and I was very happy to receive nearly 100 such proposals. Though we have selected few, my request, my suggestion would be, I will share those proposals with all your deep pocket guys. You have to select some of those good proposals, and if you can start funding to those startups or those MSMEs who have raised that proposal, I think together we can build the next generation technologies for the country. Are you in agreement with it? I think, if yes, I'll give you the microphone.
For that, sir. We also want to join hands with DRDO, where process is followed by you. You just instruct us, and we will continue. Like you give us some 2 or 3 names to him, 3 to us, and then we will take care of handholding those ideas and taking it. So that will be spent by us. They don't know who will be lucky for this side or that side.
And I also don't know, because the expert committee has selected you to give some trophy. DRDO can give only trophy.
Okay.
Beyond that, something I think DGTM will find with TDF or whatever, and rest of the things.
The selection is by you.
No.
No.
The trophy is by me.
But committee tells which one to come to Bell, which one to HL. That you do.
Okay.
Remaining things we take care of, sir. We are flexible enough in our processes. And let me tell you, like you have great finance with you, we also have, our finance is really great for R&D, I can tell you. For production, they grill like anything, all our industry partners. But when it comes to R&D, let me tell you, they don't grill us, and they support us like anything. And we are having deep pockets for doing R&D. So R&D and indigenization, there is no dearth of funds in DPSU also. DRDO definitely has, and ministry also has, but DPSU also have enough funds for doing real great research. We are having enough money, and we are blessed with very, very great finance officers also, who also align with this vision. So there is no doubt on that, sir. Now coming to technology development, yes, Bell, when it started itself, we have started for Atmanirbhar Bharat initiative for self-reliance in key technologies of radar and communication. And soon we realized that we are not only a production house. If we have to sustain in this business, we should invest in R&D. And of course, in later part, around 86 or so, we realized it is not only R&D is sufficient for us, it is investment in technology also. There is a small difference between R&D investment and technology investment. Technology investment, we are looking 10 years down the line, what are the great technologies are going to come, and start investing on those technologies. May not develop products out of that, but just develop that technology or understand that technology to adapt for defense. So that job anyway, that's why we came out with this 3-tier R&D structure where with the first tier looking only and only on technology development. And there only, as you have asked first question, we have already earmarked some of the technology area, some focused area where we wanted to do our own in-house technology development. And around 1/3 of our R&D budget we are typically reserved for this type of a proactive R&D or technology development related things, mainly spearheaded by our CRLs. We have 2 CRLs, one at Bangalore and one at Ghaziabad. And these 2 CRLs work mainly with the startups and academia for doing technology development. And of course, our other friends, with them we are working through our PDIC or our factory D&Ds, not only for production. They are my production partners, and all of them are my R&D partners also. So biggest R&D we are doing jointly for UIRST with HAL, let us say. Just one example, we are having so many great R&D projects. With Astra now we are going to have on JV and space related joint R&D we have already started. With L&T, MCA related work and other UAV and other programs we want to do some joint R&D. Of course with Data Pattern we did not have a formal R&D project, which I committed today only during lunchtime. Let us have one big R&D program with them, maybe a next generation receivers which we can develop jointly, because again we have complementary strengths. So can we work together for doing R&D? For production, definitely they all are our production partner this side. Of course, we are production partner for them, for all their bigger programs. So that is there. So regarding technology development, sir, we have already made our plan. We have made even a R&D plan for 2047. Draft only, but we made it last year. We are keep on refining it and coming out with what we have to develop as a technology. The R&D plan is mainly for technology development. So we have today a formal internal document which talks about what technology we should develop when and what is the tentative budgets for that. And after Opsindur, we realized some of the technology area where we were having some gaps, especially about drone warfare related things, etc. So that we have kept a separate budget immediately, we earmarked some separate budget, and we have done some great initiatives and great development in last 6 months itself, spearheaded again by our CRLs. But of course, some of the startups have come very, very fast for that. And second one, again, like ecosystem, I'm now answering indirectly the second question also. We have come out with some special task force jointly with Navy, and we thought why not have some different type of engagement with the startup where we can develop some deep tech technologies jointly with Navy. With these type of technology development, as it was told I think in the afternoon also, without production there is no charm of doing R&D, and that is true for startups. So until a startup and of course Bell type of company are assured of some business, then the type of R&D or type of research we do, it will have actually next level of research automatically when it is linked to deliverables. So we are now doing this end-to-end type of thing jointly with our startup ecosystem. And of course, IDEX is a baby child of Bell and HAL. Actually the seed money came from Bell and HAL only. Of course, afterwards, government has supported very well. But first, I think 3 to 4 years, it was only funded by Bell and HAL. It was a very great initiative how we can develop the startup ecosystem in the defense industry, and it is a very, very successful program. In addition, we have our own collaborative R&D related empanelment and that related program where we are working with almost all industries who are registered with us separately for this collaborative R&D initiative. We have slightly different way of engagement with R&D design houses other than DRDO. DRDO is slightly different and we have slightly different model. Why? Because DRDO main aim is to develop the technology, and for production they will pass on to production partners like us. But for us, when we develop technology, many times we have to produce it. And there only sometimes some conflict happens, great companies like them, because some of the companies have R&D as well as production power. In general, till now means 10 years before, we were generally preferring a company who don't have any production plans. Let me tell you openly, because we did not want our competitors. Our mindset was that whosoever can develop production capabilities and having R&D, he will be my competitor. So 10 years back, that was our philosophy. So we were generally developing technologies through only designers or design service providers, I should say. So we were not comfortable working with a company who was having production plans. Let me tell you, most of these companies also actually started as a R&D company, as their career, and most of them started with companies like us. Of course with DRDO also, but companies like us, they started as a R&D company, and they became our competitors. And it was a very big internal pressure, push and pull, and biases within big organizations like Bell and HAL, whether we have done a right thing in working with companies like them, developing them, supporting them, giving them R&D fund. So that was a mindset of ours almost 10 years back. But let me tell you, last 10 years and especially last 5 years, we started understanding they are my real collaborative partners. So they are not my enemy, they are not my competitor, they are my collaborative partners. And that's why we all are now working together. And the best synergy can happen by two ways as per me. Not by any other theory or even by this type of conference or only a platform. One is have your manpower leave you and join your competitor or your other organization. That manpower will have a connect to have synergy between the two organizations. And I'm lucky that many of these organizations have ex-Bell fellows.
Very good.
So that is one way of synergy is that, please, not all fellows who joined Bell should be in Bell. If we have to have collaboration, a few fellows at various point of time should leave and join other company, but I can tell you their fellows generate a different type of synergy. I can tell you most of the companies in India, electronics companies, you will find at least 1 to 10 ex-Bell fellows in there, including ADA, AD, anywhere also. Sir, I can tell you, many of the persons have left Bell and joined DRDO also. And that different connect which we have, that brings a different type of synergy.
I think,
second synergy also, sir, let me tell you.
Okay.
Second synergy is when you do joint R&D. So that's why when we, now our wavelength matches more with, let us say, a company like Astra, which was so-called our competitor few years back, is when we started doing some joint R&D. This joint R&D, you have to sit together, remove all the so-called negativities in your minds, have trust in each other, and then only you can develop. A great product can be developed only when the two companies really unite. And that synergy, I personally feel, is the only way of having the synergy. And that's why I offered to them. They were also my so-called great competitor. But I told if we have to have a real synergy in all aspects, and two organizations have mind-to-mind synchronization, that can only happen when we do some joint great R&D.
Excellent,
That is
excellent. I think a huge round of applause for CMB Well. And this reminds me a couple of things before I go to the next panelist. One is, yes, he has revealed to me today that Astra and Bell are no more the competitors. So it's the message for all my labs and additional FA, especially on CNC. And of course, putting the jokes apart, one very important thing also he mentioned that the people should leave Bell. Yes, a message to all the private players, increase the salaries more than Bell. So they will all flow forward. You know how the water flows. So it's the same way out. I think you are the real big pocket players for that. And there is a third message to Bell, that like DRDO in a transformation system, today we are giving up what you guys are capable to do. So DRDO is not doing that. In the same trend, you should also look forward to what the next level industries are capable of doing. You big brothers should not do that. You are the duck, they are the ducklings, you should carry the formation for the country. The day duck consumes the duckling, over. Ecosystem fails. So that's one message I wanted to give it to both of you. But very proud to have such two giants of two DPSUs today with 1,50,000 crores of production order running today, out of which 76% goes to these two guys and few others under the DPSUs. So that's the kind of control they have got. But don't lose heart, you guys have come to 26%, but you are giving a tough contest in all my CNCs today, I am seeing it. Day is not far, this graph may reverse. I think that's what we are looking forward to, have an Indian real private power. Having said that, I think the next expert is another very good friend of mine, Dr. Rangarajan from Data Patterns, the person who dreams. I mean, people think he's a transmitter, but actually he's the best receiver who has designed for the country. So I think with that, I'm very happy that CMD Bell is now collaborating for the receiver program. Nationwide, you should take up a program for receivers. That should be one receiver for all events and the best receiver, with all AI, all ML, all kind of technologies within, and that should be adopted by everyone. See, today the point is, one receiver is successful, 5 industries develop the same receivers. Then competition happens, then price gets pulled down, then ultimately we kill each other. Let there be a single set receiver which everybody will take out. Let there be a single set transmitter in the country which everybody should take out. It should be open, standardized products. All algorithms should be portable. Things should become much faster for delivery. Do you agree with this thinking? I think this is the first thought. I'll throw it up to Rangarajan.
Of course, it is important that we have products. We've been working on projects, but we have to concentrate on products. We've been working on projects all along, and once you move from one project to other, product gets redesigned. Worldwide, product companies, any world company, if I look at what the world requires, look at the market, and define a product. Product gets maturity over many, many years. Once the project is closed, we move the product away, maturity model ceases. So it is important that importance given to the product, to the so-called tier 1, build a mature product. It goes in many programs. Until you keep on investing, goes to various certifications, product never, that's we have a world-class product. We need to build world-class companies with world-class products. The only thing we need to do is equipment and the systems and the products which we build or the sensors has to be single source. It cannot be multiple sources, multiple variants. Multiple variants brings in too much of variation and too much of time and effort, and you miss the bus. And then what happens? First point which you brought to HAL. Will you import or support India on your sensors? This question will happen again. This happens because they don't have, he says, when you're ready, I will be ready. That is what HAL said. So you have to be ready. That means the product has to be ready. And that has to be supported together. All of us have to have products which is world-class, world-beating, made for India, and like our defense minister, made for the world. And that has to happen. And we, as Data Patterns, I'll tell you, when we interest in co-investing, we work ahead. One question was asked last time, are you interested in R&D? Will you invest R&D? We invested more than 275 crores in product development without a contract today. We build products so they can be there for future, and we want to bring the products out to building world-class systems. Yes, sir, I believe totally what you're saying, that we have to build products, and we have to build products together.
Fantastic, fantastic. I think a big round of applause for him. We have a strong competitor and who also a collaborator. It is Astra, it is Data Pattern, it is Bell that together deliver us the products. So I think with the kind of the developments which have been done over the years with Mr. M.V. Reddy ji, along with his able leadership of Astra Microwaves, one side is the R&D, the cutting-edge technology, the ever-changing system of technology which the armed forces demands. The other side is the sustainability of the products, including maintenance, including the number of products with the armed forces needs. And third side is the delay in placing the orders from us to you, that you maintain the technology and satisfy the user and maintain the ecosystem. This is a trial challenge for every industry today. You agree with me? How are you going to handle this forward, and what you suggest us to do that it helps our defense ecosystems to deliver better? Over to you.
Thank you, sir. First of all, thank you for the opportunity being given to us. Although just I came to know in the morning only that I will be part of this panel discussion, because I was replaced by somebody, I think, first of all, the technology, your first question, the technology what we have developed, cutting edge technology, which is being used in many DRDO programs, and being productionized and also being supplied to the DPSUs and gone to the armed forces. I would like to take a few examples, like when we thought of designing a GR module,
somewhere I remember in 2001. During that time, fortunately, actually we had late Dr. Shinai, who was known as Radar Man of India, unfortunately is no more. He was our chairman of this company. Since he had worked in US, had seen many active phased array radar in 90s. So he said, why can't you guys take up the development of TR modules? Then at that time, when we started off designing these TR modules, we realized that the basic building blocks of that MMIC chips are going to be play major role. So we started inquiring about these MMICs, and soon after this Western world, like as we expected, this is for what application and all. They asked for many end user applications and all. The moment when we said it is for the radar end application, they are denied to export it. So, but how do we get into this kind of a technology? We had almost brainstorming sessions, and then finally we recruited a few software guys, and also we took some help from the academic mission, then also few French nationals, and then we started a R&D center to develop those MMICs, and with those MMICs we could realize the first TR module in year 2001, which has been supplied to program AD and also for ISRO. This is actually the investment what we have done, kind of investment we have done in MMICs, and with that also one more example I can say, the Uttam, whatever AAAU, we have realized it when Proto was completed, and then when it has gone for the limited series production, as we have seen denial of the critical chips, then fortunately since we had this technology with us, we could able to replace all those chips, and today we are 100% self-reliant in this particular sector. Likewise, we have developed many technologies. Now coming to the sustainability, yes, this is always a challenge for a company who is working in a niche area. Since we are working in a RF and microwave for a long time, and since the production, the quantities what we were getting it from PSUs and all were not consistent, like we were not having a continuous order inflow, so it was very difficult for us to show the growth, and we realized that we should also make use of this technology for the like offshoot of these technologies for the other sectors like meteorology and even ISRO for the space technology. Like we have diversified into various sectors, and with that we could able to survive. In fact, in last 20 years, 1 year we could survive only by replacing the railway analog communication system with our microwave modules. In 1 year we have survived only by supplying VSAT antenna. Like we have a diversified the areas, and in way we could able to maintain the growth path in last 25 years. This is how we could survive, and we have shown the sustainability in this particular area. So this is overall about the technology part of it.
Thank you so much. I think a huge round of applause for again Chief of Astra Microwave. Lots of work onto the defense segment, onto the space segment, onto the civilian segments, being a private company carrying such a great ecosystems forward. Huge compliments to you and your team from our side actually.
Thank you
so much. Now having said that, let's shift our gear. I think a lot has been talked in the country today about the platforms. We talk about MBT, Arjun, we are talking about tanks, we are talking about more autonomous vehicles, autonomous tanks, autonomous aircrafts, everything coming to be very, very big and super. But when we look at it, when we complete a system today, it's not a single fellow's job. I mean, the engine has to be done by somebody, transmission has to be done by somebody, the entire subject has to be prepared, platform has to be done by somebody, electronics has to come somewhere. I think it's a mahakum. Together we finally realize a system which is probably being trusted by our armed forces. Having said so, I think we have struggled over the years after our tanks all, T-72, T-90 and all those eras who have supported us so long. A time has come like we are raining the sky with our aircrafts, we have to rain the desert with our tanks. That's the time which has come forward too. Here a very, very pertinent question which comes forward. I think all of you are recently aware of our DRDO model of the light tank, I think, which is where the light tank man is here, and Mr. Nilesh, who has come forward, the chairman, the experts for the defense segments, and he stays in Bangalore, my good friend again. And together there is a huge spectrum so far as L&T, Larsen & Toubro is concerned, whether you talk about Deep space electronics, if you talk about the telemetry systems, you talk about radars, you talk about road, you talk about building, you talk about whatnot. That's L&T. But we are very happy that when it comes to light tank, it has been L&T, a model which has delivered a success. Now my questions to Mr. Nilesh is, you have seen the executing model of every DRDO labs developing a part and parcel of certain technologies, realizing it to a product and realizing a system. And in another model we worked out with light tank, the whole model you know about. Futures to come, which model you prefer and why, and how you think DRDO should align with such big players that we have a faster induction of the platforms. Over to you.
So thanks first of all to invite me, and I'm very proud to be among this panelists. Point number one is all that what we are today is because we started sometime with the DRDO. It's a father-child relation, but majority come from the Hindu mythology, and the parent still tries to control the child. Now the child is grown up, he comes in the Gen Z and he has his own way of thinking, right? So I think it's also that maturity which got displayed, especially when we talk about working together on the lifetime, where that freedom was exhibited and where we had that confidence that this is the portion which you are going to handle, this is the portion which we are going to handle. Technically speaking, today as an ecosystem, as the industry, as well as with the DRDO, there are n number of successes, but I think it is also somewhere what went right, I will say, is not getting into doing everything, but having some sort of a tierized approach where we don't work and we don't want to do everything. We want to do subsystem level where I get the subsystem from somewhere and I integrate and then move ahead on realizing something very fast. Okay, so first is where DRDO said, this is what I bring to the table. We as the industry said, this is what I bring into the table. The question here is, can I do something more? Yes. Can you do something more? Yes. But let's have an executive decision that we will not do something more but restrict to this, while we may be able to. So that's first. Second thing we said, what we do well, let's have that. And that is where we accelerated. We had very less number of tierized supplier. That means less level of management control, less level of interventions. The question here is it a cost-effective model? I think on the larger scale of things, yes. Because one thing which was very made clear is while we have many of the systems which we may take from multiple places, we will control the ICD. At the subsystem level where we take a shot tomorrow as a program need, as the nation needs, that if we want to replace A with B, we have that choice and we can replace it any point of time. So this model worked well. We followed the philosophy what we tried to do in K9 Vajra before this. K9 Vajra we tried, technically there were more than I'll say 700 plus MSMEs and the supply chain vendors which we were working, but my transactions were limited to only 2 digits. Because it was somewhere down the line who was aggregating, someone who was consolidating. And it ended up, in cycling the project faster, and we delivered the 100 Vajras faster. And Light Tank is another success story where, and this is the first time in the world, sir, that someone has done the Light Tank kind of a platform in flat 18 months. Nowhere in the world it has happened. Together with DRDO, we did that Light Tank in 18 months. So the successes are possible in this model. And we see this tierized approach, but I think we need to give that elbow room to play. And it is also within the industry that we need to behave that maturity, with that maturity that we pass on something, as you gave an example of ducklings. Otherwise that economy elbow seat problem will always remain if we try to just take a grab of that small. But I think there is enough on the plate to meet everyone's growth, but may not be enough to meet everyone's greed. That's all I'm saying.
I think that's a very, very, I think huge round of applause for L&T again for such a wonderful job for life science and such a great thinking. Yeah, that's a point which I wanted to bring it to the table. Actually, there is enough in the planet. But let's not fight. It's typically like a buffet table. I think I've not witnessed it, but it happens. Everyone crowds for the one dish and then load the plate without thinking how much they can digest. So my point is there is a food for everyone here. My message to the industry's friends who are all here around, let's not contest and fight over the same product, same topic and kill each other. Rather than define your domain, work for it, flourish within your domain and create a world number one in your domain. I think that is what will make together India as the number one. You all agree with me? Wonderful. Kya baat hai? So now I have been given 90 minutes by the organizers, so we have spent about 45 minutes. I think this is the right time. We deserve a commercial break for 1 minute. Are you enjoying the panel discussion? Sound is less. You have to make it enjoyable in the second part of the commercials. You will know why. So I think our additional FA is the only man who requests for an exit. Though permission is not there, but you know we are all scared of one man in the country. That's finance. So I have wicked myself and agreed because he has to catch a flight. And so it has been wonderful, sir, to be with us. And I think it's as a matter of our systems. Let me have the honor to felicitate you for this. And let me tell you, entire DRDO is extremely lucky that we have got such a man as Axel Effer. Don't worry, in front of him I'm saying, don't think it otherwise. I have no files on his table. He is. We have worked it all along. He has been a man who supports R&D industries. He has been the person who has really gone forward and helped us out. That is why whatever is happening at DRDO is further. And I am saying it all this so that he removes that annual logic from DRDO. So thanks for coming and enriching us with all your bright ideas. God bless you. Thanks so much. Yeah, that was the commercial break. Now let me tell you, 1 minute back I asked you a question. Are you enjoying the panel discussion? The yes was definitely not from the whole hall because the hall is full. Yes was only from 50%. Now remaining 50% responsibility to complete my panel discussion. You understand what it is. The house is open to the audience. Can I request the audience to throw open the questions based on this entire domain of discussions which we had or even beyond with the main theme, how do we create a huge and the best R&D ecosystems in this country? The question is open to the audience. First guy who answers will get a reward. You didn't hear. I said first guy who answers, not questions. Yes, sir. Jokes apart.
Right, so my turn again, so I'll just open up a little bit. I think you let the finance person go, but the first comment was for him anyway. Forward. So a lot of reform has actually been happened, so thanks for him and thanks to all of you anyway to make this happen. Otherwise, it's not a finance job to make the process open. So it is also the policies are better. Having said that, I think we should also consistently look forward to reforms. Now telling that this is the system, this you have to live with it, and this is public money and things like that is actually a very easy way of answering that. The question is still there has to be done and there are still scopes to be done. What to be done we can discuss in private whatever it is, I mean on a different forum maybe. But the whole idea here in the entire country or including DRDO or whatever, especially when you come to the R&D part and then you the rules and regulations you club it in a general framework, general basket, right? So essentially whatever rules apply for general basket, it applies for R&D things also, especially for people like us. And that is very confusing. Okay, it is so confusing that rounds and rounds and rounds and out. Even though we took a project for DRDO COE, had he not been there, I would not have taken it actually. I mean, I'm very honestly taking that. Had Dr. Nayak not been there in the loop, I would not have taken it also. But 5 years it took, 5 years to get the project done. Project proposal sanction. And in between there are so many restrictions. I mean, she's also aware of some of that and things like that. So these things has to go.
I think
you are impatient anyway. But
I solved the problem.
you solved it. You solved it. That's
See, Professor.
See, there is no end to this actually.
No, there is no end to it, but essentially the whole ecosystem has to evolve around belief system, not about disbelief system. That is, every time you talk about disbelieving, right? Something is happening. Every 3 months you give a report. Every 3 months you tell us what. Every 3 months you don't get a new idea. So have some patience. So that is these are on something that you can take.
I think yes.
Now the second point is probably to BL or something, or BL or DHL or something, whatever. The big giant public sector ecosystem, whatever. We can keep talking about ducklings and all that, but eventually when it comes to that, we see that every day. I will tell you a live example also. I mean, we actually had an interaction with BL, and we went to BL corporate office. Somebody from Ghaziabad came, and they told, okay, we have done such a about traffic modeling and all that. The BL has done fantastic work with you. Though your solution gels very well. Now we want to buy it. And that okay, we want to support you and things like that. So we'll support about 2-3 crores, whatever it is, but your IP will be with us. Now IP will be with us, will never ever be given for any startup. If they are startup, will simply fail. So IP should remain with the startup, and then come forward where all that.
I think that's a very important point, Professor. I think I
all right. So I think more on that.
But good. Just two super. You can be comfortable unless you have further questions. I'll come back to you. Please be seated. Yeah, just a word of advice. See, as long as you are in the class, you can take panga with anybody. As long as you are outside the class, normally you should not, and especially not with a lady. It becomes more dangerous. Okay. Yeah, the next question coming. Anybody sorry, the next questions? Otherwise I have a questions to the audience. What? His question? No, his question fine. See, okay, I'll come back to you. No. He has the answer. He says, well, he will only be successful where Dr. Jagannath Naik is there on the project. So he knows the answer. So he knows the answer. That's why I didn't want to answer you. But actually, to say the method way forward, I want to tell you, yes, we have a process. We have a process which is a very meticulous process, and every point there is a checkpoint. Yes, government, as a government systems, we always need to safeguard. Safeguard, the reason being, yes, for R&D we can invest any amount. Today, hundreds and thousands of crore have been offered to us to offer it to R&D. But at the same time, we should not forget, every rupee there is a taxpayer's money. We are accountable for it. So that's the whole reason the disbelief factor comes. We believe professors. We are not disbelieving. We only sometimes disbelieve the process. If the process is correct, DRDO is for you. And that's the reason. Many times, because of this belief and disbelief jinx, the whole cycle repeats time and again. That's the reason probably you would have landed up there. But I must tell you, thanks to DGTM, yesterday we had a long discussion. And 6 months back, we had another review for TDF, wherein that entire process of TDF, which was taking about a couple of years, we have worked out a process for about 4 to 5 months in which DRDO should be able to sanction a TDF project. That's an absolutely new norm which is on the desk for approval. Any moment it will be released, and it's a good news for each one of you. Don't lose your heart in submitting your proposal through TDF. Definitely within 6 months we will give you the grant. That's the suggestions and that the process which I've evolved with. Having said that, yesterday we had a long review about the DIA COE processes. There also for many cases have come which was taking a little longer time. We have cut down the whole process. We have seen to safeguard the government's interest, yet we still reach the time faster. We have come out with a wonderful target. Probably, if I dare to say that on the stage, about 4 months is the target. We have given it to DGTM and probably, Madam Ranjana ma'am and all of them. From the day the project is owned by the lab, that's very, very important. The project is owned by the lab. The lab director and the PI, the professor together, along with a committee called TEC or TCEC, whatever you call it, wherein we have proposed one financement to be inside so that some vetting about the costing part also happens and a project proposal comes out. If that we consider it as a T0, within 4 months from that, we should be able to grant a project. I think that could have been a better answer than that to your 5 years riddle. Now with or without Dr. Naik, you will still get the proposal sanctioned faster. Okay? Yeah.
Continuation of that only, I am also a professor, sir, from NIT Surat.
Oh my God, all professors together today out.
Not that way, so it's like, so here I am participating on behalf of my startup actually. We recently released a small short range radar with some prototype is developed actually at our incubation center. So thanks, I would like to thank DRDO for, we also became L1 actually, as there is no way that we can get some project from the DRDO without, even though it's a small R&D project, we learned a lot, and then as a result of that, actually that it's like now real time we are able to radiate waveform, receive signals, processing, and all that is happening. So it's a good TRL level. So we have done multiple experiments also using the political background. I agree with the professor. We need some support, sir, in the sense that the same rules, if you apply for professors like us, it is difficult. Actually, the bigger projects, IDEX have been participating. For last 5 years, 20 proposals we sent. So all of them we have been shortlisting, but unfortunately, interviews being called, and thereafter, some sort of, I don't want to talk more. So that has to be kind of transparent, that process. So it is like Manoj Jay sir is saying that IDEX, they both have participated, but we were genuine enough, we were technically competent. I published in transactions in IEEE, and then I have also done a lot of guidance in that area, and then we learned from abroad, and then a lot of things are there. Technologically, we are not inferior to anybody in that competition. So unfortunately, we were not being listed. It's a small funding, it's a few lakhs. Few lakhs also not being given to professors. Then how can you expect a research progression happens in India?
I totally.
And actually, in Niche area, nobody is doing radar research, sir. So everybody moves to much lucrative areas. So since we stuck in this one, we have been doing, but some encouragement is required for us, because we want to do some innovative products and such kind of things. So we need, sir. Thank you.
I totally in agreement with you, Professor. And yes, we all have to look into the process, how to go forward. But having said that, not that everything we do on L1, like Additional Affairs just said, there is a QSBC, SBS, QCBS policy, through which quality and the cost together we compromise, and we manage both of them together and get it. Many such decisions we have taken together. That's one part. Second part comes out to be, we have got a channel called CARS, where in the centralized research support we do it to the professors, which doesn't get decided with L1. If you really work out with somebody with a good program, and it's a really good one, we support it. Our DIS COE centers also, we don't go straight with L1. There also we go with, there is a good policy, good proposal, really cutting edge technology, and we've got an essence in it, we find a method to support it. But having said that, there are certain cases where really you are having a criticalities of process. Till our MOD process gets revised, here are big guns of private players sitting here. Whether I look at L&T, I look at Raster, I look at Data Pattern. I'm so happy that you guys don't run on L1. So you are the people actually, till we become capable to support beyond L1, you guys should do handholding of such industries who are coming out not a big amount, some small values, but a game-changing product which can add value to your measure systems. They are the solutions for you. They are a part of us. But together we will make this synergy happen in the country. Okay? Thank you so much. Some other question? Yes. Yes, please.
Let me clarify on the IDEX process. In the IDEX process, when the challenge is put forth, everybody whosoever wants to apply, they apply. And after that, there is a empowered committee consisting of 6 to 8 fellows, including experts, user reps, etc. They all evaluate and give marks. And after the marks, whosoever has got the best marks, he will be awarded the contract, not L1. There is no L1 concept there. The fellow who got the highest marks. So on various parameters. And the parameters there many times may not favor an academician, I agree, because there they want the problem to be solved. Like a more of a startup or a industry type of problems are there more. They are not theoretical problems typically. So a fellow who is a startup or a MSME, he may get overall marks much more than an academician, because academician will have theoretical marks more. But when we evaluate across 10, 12 different parameters, there is a transparent process. And afterwards, there is no L1. Let me assure you, it is the fellow who gets the highest marks. He will be given that particular challenge. Many a times I can tell you, when the problem was too complex, then based on our recommendations, typically because we are one of the main stakeholders, we told, sir, in this case, only one fellow selecting may not be correct, because chances of failure may be there to develop this technology. Then we recommended in paper, in writing, let us go to the second best fellow who has got second best marks and third best marks. In one case, we had given to top three fellow who got T1, T2 and T3 got awarded the IDEX challenge, and at different prices. All three had quoted different price. Some fellow has quoted 1.4 crore, some fellow 1 crore and some fellow 70 lakhs. So we told we will give to these, not at the 70 lakhs, to all the three. That this problem will be solved by 70 lakhs by all the three now. No, we paid to the fellow what he wanted. So that was done in IDEX, and one of the project which I remember personally because I was also part of that evaluation committee, it is done. So IDEX challenge is not L1 game, let me again assure you. And IDEX challenge is a challenge where we are learning. No, we are learning. Every year every quarterly we are sitting together along with the think tank and the board of IDEX, where we are refining and simplifying the IDEX process.
I think.
But let me.
It's okay.
That's why I wanted to clarify that the process is like that. There may be some hard ones when somebody is not selected because we are not transparently telling that why we reject you, why we rejected this fellow, and you got this mark, he got that mark. We are not transparently telling, but I think we are coming out with a total intranet, transparent dashboard type of system where you can see also finally how much marks you have got for various parameters and why we have selected first fellow. But let me assure you, the whole process, whole recording is done and it is in the written form. There is no verbal communication. Everybody gives their marks. Finally, endorsement is done, and then only the fellow who has got highest marks is given that IDEX challenge.
Chalo.
Just I thought of clarifying.
I think clarification is done. I think his purpose was not IDEX alone.
Okay, now let me tell you. All academia, let me tell you, as well, and mostly that may be true for HAL also. Because we are a business house, we generally play L1 game for our production related things, not for R&D, let me tell you. In R&D, more than 90% or maybe 100%, I can tell you. We aim is 100, but at least more than 90% of R&D association which we do with our industry partner are not multi-vendor, they are single vendor. If that fellow is good, we want to develop that technology with him. We justify why we want to go only with this fellow. There is a thick file made of justifying that fellow and we go only to him. We have not done L1 process for selecting the best R&D fellow for doing collaborative R&D. And academia, we don't do even PNC also, let me tell you. It is namesake PNC we do because on paper we have to do PNC. Although it is a single vendor, it is more mandatory to have PNC. Multi-vendor need not. We do over phone PNC with professors. I myself has conducted. I called my finance fellow, he was sitting next to me, and we told, it is namesake PNC, but you have to do PNC, let us do. But don't embarrass a professor by demanding, sir, give me 10% discount, 15% discount on a 10 lakhs or 20 lakhs type of a R&D, which is purely a theoretical R&D. It is not based on material cost. It is on algorithm development. On algorithm development, how a finance or purchase fellow will know what is the worth of it? My R&D fellow tells, yeah, this particular R&D work is worth 20 lakhs. You believe it, you ask him, and mostly he will say no. Sometimes we were lucky, they may give 1 or 2% discount, but otherwise we have not forced for discount when we are working with academia.
I think this statement gives a lot of respite to many of you listening to here. But I think one thing which I am perceiving is such a beautiful option is available with our DPSUs and private vendors, but still other side people are struggling to reach. So there is a gap somewhere. There is a gap somewhere, and that's the reason this synergy. This is where we have to understand. And Manoj Jain ji, be prepared. Tomorrow there will be a long queue and headed by Professor Padi. All of them are reaching bell tomorrow. Yes, there is a question from there behind. Yes, can you be louder, please? Or can somebody give me a microphone? Yeah.
Yes, sir. Hi, sir.
Hi.
Sir, we saw, last 2 to 3 decades of time, lot of products has been done from the industry with the collaboration of DRDO. There's a one question, sir, what we said, because wherever we go for any products, there is a irreplaceable component called actually individual connectors. You can take for actually optical connectors which are working for 1G, 10G, 100G, 400G, which are futuristic connectors. You can take it for actually normal actually power connector which are invented before 2 decades. But today, the products which have been developed, which has been done within 6 months of the time, the team is waiting for 40 weeks to 65 weeks for only connectors, which are only imported actually. Today, sir, actually, if you really see the system which can be done in 10 months of the time, but it has to wait in the shelf just for the connectors alone actually, sir. Sir, what our request is only thing is the connectivity industry, please look at it, it's $1 billion industry, but the DRDO should encourage the connectors and make it as a open standardized. So I tell you, there are, sir, just I wanted to give a 1 minute, sir, here one thing if you see, there is a D38999 standard is there, which is commonly used before 3 decades of time. The same connector, optical also there. But today, some ex-company in US, he adds a small masala and he takes that actually that as new standard. Nobody can source the connector and nobody can do a local production here actually. Everybody depend on him, everybody depend on his distributor, everybody depend on his own sources.
Understood your point.
Sir, please do
very
something.
Sore point. I understand your point, very sore point. I fully in agreement with it. See what happens, there are two aspects. One is when we are visualizing a system in total. When we are delivering a complete system designed, developed by DRDO with industries together to the armed forces, I think end-to-end design becomes ours and a standardization is followed within. But let us say if you are working out for an upgrade of a system, or you are working with when one part of the system is from somebody else and the other part DRDO is designing it, or let's say armed forces have given us to develop or upgrade a systems wherein which was imported from US with certain connectivities, constraint comes in there. So that's one of the restrictions which we have to overcome. That's point number one. Point number two, yes, it's a high time India has to evolve its own standards. I think for the connectors, for the systems, for the chipsets, for our own algorithms, India should have its own standards. And that should control the development of the entire systems that we become dependent within the country, not outside. Beyond that, if some of you want to add further to it, let's add something.
No, this is a pain point for all of us because we are also basically R&D engineers only. What you have told is right. We do too much waiting time for components to come. But we thought firstly let us indigenize systems, then we have migrated to subsystems, and now only we realize the real bottleneck is connectors, ICs, even passives. You know, for airborne, passive register also are imported today because that much qualification is not done. Problem is these things don't have that much volume for defense only in India. Until and unless that type of a return on investment is there, industries are also not coming forward. You know, for a semiconductor industry, how much investment is required, and that investment is sustainable only if either government supports. It is not DRDO support is sufficient for that because it is tens of thousands of crores required for these type of industries if they have to develop, because firstly they have to develop for only Indian requirement, then only once they mature they can export it. So overall return on investment will be there, but for today it is a slightly risky business and no industry is coming forward for doing that type of investment. But over a period of time now government has realized, and that's why the government is putting incentives for all these type of items, and that's why indigenization plan at component level is now given more focus, and in next 8 to 10 years we will see a sea change, and maybe beyond a decade I think most of the ICs or most of the connectors or most of the small things which actually takes much more time for us, relay. So leach relay in between during COVID time, 96 weeks type of thing, 2 years we had to wait for some simple electromechanical relays. So we had, because volume was not there in India and they are making for overall global requirement, they were making for last 50 years, 100 years in this segment. So that's why it took time. But now let me tell you, it has given mandate for all DPSU, each and every component also which we are importing today, that is put on Srajan portal. And given a requirement that this is the item, this is the contact point from our side, what is my annual requirement for that? But overall my annual requirement may not be attractive enough to indigenize that component. But we are transparently giving all this information. More than 12,000 components we have put in Srajan, and maybe more, much more by you. So we have put that. We don't want to hide that this component is still we are importing. But yes, component level Atmanirbharta will take, I feel, at least 10 more years.
Yeah, but I think that's a very, very important point which you brought it out, and as he rightly says, we are on the course, we are on the path, and soon India will be Atmanirbhar very soon. I think there is a question from this side.
We have a stock for that. So whatever the product we are developing, we'll pick up the connectors from that stock only, so that it will be sustained. And again, come to your questions. Actually, last week one of my colleague and we are discussing, as well as connector, mechanical part also, some bridge locks, then hook mechanism. So that also lead time is more. So in that cases, so we can support a development partner by giving us a free issue of material. So we have a stock, so we can give us a free issue of material. You can do it.
So Charles,
later we can buy.
Charles, to answer your question, what we are giving is a painkiller and what we are talking is antibiotics. That's the difference. We'll definitely
one more
support
point,
as
sir.
a DRDO. Yeah, we'll come back. We'll come back to you again. I think I'll take some more questions from others. Yes, please. Loud enough. Till the microphone reaches.
Incubated from Indian Institute of Science.
Very good.
So I come from software background and sort of odd man out in the sense that we work on the aerodynamic aspects of flying configurations. So what I see is that when we have to develop the software, which is as niche as the work which we are doing, where we have put in more than 140 man years, DRDO is definitely one of the players who have helped us growing the tool to this level. But unlike the products where the DRDO comes out or they have certain specific schemes which say that we require these products, and then anyone who is working in the hardware and software related to the hardware can go look at it and see it. Unlike that, we don't get to sort of reach out to the users who are into the basic research and development. So if something can be done, if we can have some central platform where the R&D engineers from the DRDO labs say that from the design and analysis point of view, we require it this way. And we can sort of have a consolidated list.
I got your, I'm interrupting you because I've understood your question. I have to save some time. Very, very super point you have touched upon. In fact, in the exact same line, as DRDO, we are developing a portal. In fact, that portal was to be released today, but we just wanted to make a little bit of a more transformations to come up with. It is going to be a common open portal, wherein any such developments which you people are doing, you can upload. And any challenges which are the pain points for DRDO today, we should have an option to upload. And the challenge could be thrown open and transparent to all the industries, and you can come forward with your suggestions and we can support you forward. I think soon this will happen. I think this will happen. Yeah. I think one or two more questions we will take. I want to save some time for your tea as well. Yes, something from the back. Yes, please.
Good evening to all. My name is Jude. I am from Wavecom Technology Private Limited. We are into antenna design and development. So I don't have any questions but I have a request. Like I want to request the PSUs to conduct awareness and awareness of the importance of the electronic circuits to the students. So I want to create that awareness through some competitions, some hackathons, so that they will come out with the confidence and working on the electronics industry. So this is what I wanted to
propose and request. It's a very important point and very, very wonderful point. Not only PSUs, even as DRDO also, we are conducting many such events in the current and also in the futures, encouraging such partners, encouraging such budding engineers from the colleges, and we are also requesting them for some great ideas. And we'll be very thrilled to know such wonderful ideas are coming from hardly third year or final year engineering students, which otherwise we are studying as scientists. This concept exists, but your suggestion is well taken. I think we'll take it forward. Yeah, one last question. If not, then I'll have a question. Lovely, very, very wonderful audience. One question to the audience, especially to my industry friends. What is that you want, one single change you want in DRDO which will enable you to be an absolute ecosystem partners for DRDO? Who wants to answer it? Not from the stage. I know, all my scientists will say L1. ये सवाल का जवाब नहीं है आपके पास? Does it mean you are all happy with what DRDO is, or you want DRDO to change? Are such a beautiful audience, how can you be quiet? I say, then I'll come back here. You are not a part of me now. Tell me, what is the single change you want DRDO to have to make the entire ecosystem be more vibrant? Yes.
Always I wanted to speak, whether as CMD, well, I should speak or not. As a
Doesn't
engineer,
matter. It's an
as
open
a
question.
technocrat, I am speaking. But I feel this TOT given by DRDO should be designed TOT. Yes. Especially when the design has already matured. Till it is maturing, handholding is required by DRDO. But once DRDO declares that yes, this design is mature, after that, the design TOT should be given to industry. Then industry can multiply that design, come out with more variants, much more quicker, and DRDO can play a real father figure for that during reviews and other things. I feel time has come for that.
I think I'm in absolute agreement with this. Yes, Rangarajan sir, you want to say something? After that, we'll come back to CMD's point.
I think it's time DRDO gives consultancy. See, it gives consultancy because in MOD tenders, you see everybody, including PSUs, go to foreigners. So there's no lack of products in India. And even if, there are two reasons. One, because FET gets done properly without share, and there's no product existing in India. People like us who are willing to actually invest, there's no actually capability, or there's no provision in DRDO to give consultancy. Time has come now to offer consultancy to industry to say we'll build it together. So we look at that world market, Indian market, and see if we can address this. Here again, consultancy should not be on highest bidder. The consultancy should be on competency, proper VQC, so that whatever capability is built in MSMEs, capability is reused in the overall program. So the realization or operationalization of the whole thing is done faster.
Actually.
This is very, very important. This change makes a lot of difference in how to address the entire market in India, which we are not doing today.
I totally in agreement with you, but I'll take just a couple of minutes to answer both of you. First, coming to CMD Bell's point about the TOT, I am in perfect agreement. We are in a TOT today, definitely we are doing it, but then lots of hand-holding we are doing today. So within DRDO, there is a strong TOT reform which is coming up with. How complete and comprehensive are going to be our documentations, our design documents, that it almost becomes self-explanatory. It helps both of us. It helps you to implement faster. It helps me because you might have seen today morning when I was awarding TOT, for one TOT there are multiple industries who are taken. Now more number of industries take the same system, our scientists have to be handholding of all of them. Actually the critical time of scientists gets lost through that. So DRDO, believe me, is in a strong process of reforms on TOTs, and sooner we are coming out with a very, very standardized documentations which will enable you to do it. This will give you, of course, with one condition which exists today, but we are a little relaxed on that. The moment you take our documentations, with or without order, at least you should try to realize one product out of the document. So that the document speaks for itself that the product is enabled.
We will do it, sir. We will
That
do
if
it.
you agree, I am in agreement with you to go forward. Wonderful. That's point one. Coming to Rangarajan sir's point, sorry, I forgot about it. Consultancy. Actually, though not in a very formal way, DRDO has evolved with that method today. I think HL Chief is here, he will agree with me. In particular product, when we require a back-end consultancy with DRDO, we have a signed up agreement called RDR, through which the entire LRD brain power is attached to HL to enable HL to realize the radar, wherein we do nothing. HL does the entire radar. Whatever the part of the brain you need from us, we are supporting that for. We are there not only for HL, I think for Bell, for all industries. You had one pain point of H1. You mentioned a point that don't consider with H1.
Prohibitive. That everybody cannot participate.
I agree.
Competent industry cannot participate.
So my only point there is, see, for the same products, let's say multiple industries come forward to DRDO, it becomes little tricky for us to support so many industries together. That's only the reason we put some criteria to select the best bidder. It could be H1 on price, or it could be H1 on technology, it could be H1 on technical competence. That subject definitely will build with it, but that system has come up and it is coming up in a big way. And if you ask my personal choice, I am looking for a future country where all orders of big platform and programs will go to industries only. DRDO will be only a back-end player.
In this RTDR, the software is held by you, the domain is held by you. You have to translate that.
Yes.
You cannot build products without your domain. The domain is what is important, and you will give consultancy. Domain has to be part of product. Only then India can grow as a world-class.
I agree. I totally agree. I was waiting for my friend to bring this topic. I don't know why you were so late to bring this. But the point is, soul will come once they know where is the space in the heart. So, I am ready to give all my softwares what my engineers have developed, provided 2 points. One is, software does not exist in today's world alone, neither the hardware exists alone. There has to be a marrying between the two. When there is a marriage, the entire hardware details should open up to the designers and the software should match to the hardware of the systems. Together this has to happen is point number 1. And there is a point number 2. Software, whatever DRDO has built today is over decades and decades of experience. By merely handing over a software, it doesn't work. We are ready to train your engineers to build your software, provided you build and depute a dedicated set of engineers with us and assure us that they continue with you. If that 2 assurances are given from the industries, we are absolutely ready.
So we don't want to participate, give all what you have. For the program, what is this? You
Yes,
define
absolutely.
requirement, we'll build together.
Absolutely.
That is what
we are with you for that. Okay, friends, since you stopped asking questions, I started asking questions. I think that indicates that we are coming to a wonderful end to this wonderful day. Did you really enjoy the panel discussions, all of you? Yeah, that's a better sign. So thank you so much. I think I'll request the organizers to come and help me. We have a wonderful panelists, all of you. I think you have been wonderful, simply superb. And together from DPSUs, from private players together, you are building a great ecosystems for our country. And I think today India is dreaming. 1.5 lakh crores of order is today on the platter and much more billions are coming ahead. If India has to be a $10 trillion economy, not only your production order, you all should enhance your export orders. I look forward to, we all feel happy with our turnover, we all feel happy capturing the huge large slice of the production, but I look forward in the next event, who is the highest exporter of our country. They are the players who will make my country, not only Atmanirbhar, the global leader. I think with these words, thank you so much. I think a huge round of applause for all my panelists together. Thank you so much. God bless you.
So now I request Dr. P.K. Das to felicitate all the dignitaries. Now I request LC Mangal sir, DGTM, to give a memento to Dr. P.K. Das.
I think before the final remark by the organizers, let me tell you, there is a wonderful cup of tea waiting outside, and followed by that, a wonderful glittering cultural program and the dinner. Very special part of this program is all are my guests. So 2 things we have done. There is no sponsorship for this program. The entire program is supported by DRDO. And the second thing is there is no entry fee, no registration fee, nothing for this. All are my loving guests, you have to be together. So to that extent, if we have not reached up to your expectation, please pardon us. The theme for this was togetherness, samanvaya. That is what we are trying for it. You must be surprised why I am saying it today now. I should have said it tomorrow. I am saying today with one interest that evening there is a cultural and dinner. Those who are not attending, entire bill will go to their account.
DG sir said, today at evening 7:30 we have cultural networking dinner in the open launch. And I request everybody in this hall, participant, dignitaries, VIPs, everybody to please kindly join us for the networking dinner. Thank you.